Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the League of Inches podcast. Another Supercoach edition coming your way. It's the Supercoach Team Preview podcast. Tonight's teams feature the Parramatta Eels, Melbourne Storm, the St George Illawarra Dragons, and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I want to obviously welcome the boys back. So I've got Trav and Jesse once again along for this amazing ride. How are we both, boys?
Excellent, mate. Top of the world. Pre-season, it's good. Just been back-to-back potties. So it's hot, man. I'm loving it.
We are, Trav.
And I'm going well, mate. I got under 100 in golf today, so I'm flying. I'm super keen for this.
A win for us hackers out there. Whenever you can celebrate going under 100, it's a massive win. And look, guys, for those watching on YouTube, you've already spotted there's four of us going, what is going on tonight? We are joined by absolute Supercoach royalty, content royalty, podcast royalty, just royalty in general. From the SC Playbook, Tim Williams, mate. How are you? Thank you very much for coming on board. Good luck. You're in for one of a big one. We've got our in-depth team previews, but how's things, mate?
Good, mate. And yeah, pretty generous intro. I think in about an hour's time, the people who's sitting there going, it was very generous, but hopefully we can steer them in the direction of some good Supercoach advice with the clubs coming up. But I'm great. Been out for a big Thai feed, so a gut full of prawn toast and red wine and ready to talk some Supercoach. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all, mate. We are thrilled to have you on board. And I did tell the boys in the end they were absolutely rapt to have you. And I'm sure everyone watching, listening right now are going, how good is this? Just quickly, before we do get into things, just from SC Playbook's point of view, it's obviously the start of a huge year ahead. I think the competition in general is going to be exciting, but I also think Supercoach perspective is going to be massive. And I guess from what you're doing, can you just let everyone know what's happening with SC Playbook what we can look forward to for the year to come?
Yeah, it's probably the challenge every year, mate, isn't it? There's so many, you're trying to run these social media pages and podcasts, and there are so many good content creators out there year in, year out, and they come out and bring out all this new stuff, and you find yourself kind of chasing your tail and trying to keep up with everyone and trying to do things a little bit fresh, a little bit differently, and do things better each year. So at SC Play, we've got a few things in mind for this year to try and freshen things up and make it all bigger and better. And I think over probably the last 4 to 5 months, as sort of News Corp and all that have expanded with Supercoach, we've sort of followed the crowd and gone with NBA and EPL and NFL and a bit of AFL content coming as well this season. So it's been a busy one, mate, but with the cricket summer just about over, a bit of Big Bash to come. I'm heavily into that, and SC Playbook is as well. I sold Jack Wildermuth 2 games ago thinking his role would be diminished and he wouldn't be bowling much, and it was on the money, but he's still managing to score runs at the top of the order. He just got dismissed for about 7, so I'm very relieved off the back of that one.
Oh, he's already making some big moves and great moves as well. I just want to also, before we get underway, I just want to issue a public apology to yourself. This is dating back to last year's Magic Round, okay? We're going to rip the Band-Aid off here. I know Jesse basically ran into you about 16 times over that weekend, did a massive laps around Suncorp Stadium. Me and Trav actually lost him for about half of Saturday, and then he sends us photos up with yourself, probably chewing your ear off with Supercoach. The guy has a matrix mind. I just want to say sorry about potentially ruining your Magic Round by listening to Jesse for 3 hours.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Don't be nice.
And that's the beauty of Magic Round, right? And yeah, there was some ears chewed off. I think about this one was gone. The right one had about half it left, but that's it, right? For anyone that hasn't been to Magic Round, and I despise Queenslanders and the state and Suncorp Stadium and all of that, but it's pretty hard to say a bad word about Magic Round, despite being like a true blue New South Welshman. It just nails it. And yeah, look, ears do get chewed off, but beers are consumed. You get to watch 8 games of footy. The vibe up there is just something special. So it's no apologies needed, mate.
If you survive a Jesse chat with any part of your ears left, you've achieved greatness. That's a really big, that's massive. First, quickly to shout out to our sponsors, obviously, Caxton Street Brewing Company. Thank you once again for major sponsor, CSG Apparel and Sava Sports for all our merch. Please message the page if you do want any of that merch. And then Con and the team at Freedom Finance as well. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's not leave anyone waiting anymore. And we're going to be doing the Parramatta Eels first. So their first 5 games of 2026. Round 1 is the Storm away. Round 2, the Broncos away. Round 3 are the Dragons at home. Round 4, Penrith away, which is at CommBank Stadium at the moment. And then round 5 is Tigers at home. They actually got a stretch of, I think, 5 games in a row there at CommBank Stadium. So it's a really decent run just after those early away games. On the injury front, nothing to worry about at this stage for the Eels. All pretty much going to be fit and firing, hopefully, for round 1. So we'll get into the hookers first. So you've got Riley Smith at 380K and you got Talon De Silva at 235K. I could ask around here, but I feel like I'd know the potential answer. Anyone keen on any of these hookers at the moment? Jesse?
Nah, honestly, I'm not really. Hey, like I like their prices. Talon's got a good price, 235. He's basically minimum. But they're just going to eat into each other too much to be relevant. If one of them goes down for an extended period of time and the other one gets a full spell at 80, yes, I'll probably be keen. But that's pretty much what's going to take, I think, until we know what's going on with the split. You kind of just have to watch and avoid.
Trav?
Look, Talon De Silva's been in my team for a very long time, up until a couple of days ago when I mucked around with the news of what Brendan Smith is doing, and that he was named as a start. Well, there's a potential talk that he's named as a starter. It just dumbfounds me the amount of money Power have paid for a guy, got him mid-season, and are only going to give him 20 minutes. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just feel like Talon De Silva is the man. I like Riley Smith, but just, yeah, I'm not starting with them, but I'm pretty keen to watch what happens. And if one of them gets injured, I'll probably find that they'll be in my team because the other one will get a lockdown of minutes. But, yeah, until that happens, I'm not interested in either.
Timmy, anything to add?
Not too much, boys. Just much the same thought. I thought it was a weird signing at the time just because I think these two blokes are two of the better up-and-coming hookers in the game, and I think they'd both be like pretty disappointed with anything less than a starting role. So the way I see it, it'll probably be something like a 50-30 split minutes-wise. I don't know who will start or how it'll work exactly, but I think as the boys sort of summed up well, if there's an injury to one of them, you have a near enough 80-minute hooker at a bargain price, but until that point, I'll be steering clear.
I'm hearing at the moment Riley Smith will be the starter with Talon De Silva off the bench. So, which they were basically doing that last year as well. Front row forwards. So we've got Jack Williams with the 2RF dual at 610K. Junior Parlo at 549K. Jermaine Hopgood, 2RF dual, 517K. And new recruit Jack DeBellin, 2RF dual as well, 514K. Any of these guys screaming out? I know Jack Williams was really handy, especially for me from a draft point of view last year. I really enjoyed having him. Are we thinking any of these guys at the moment, Jesse?
I'm kind of curious on Williams, Hopgood, and DeBellin, to be honest. They've kind of all piqued my interest. I always have a soft spot for Hopgood, and I really like his price at 517 with a dual. There's very few of them now, especially around his price point. So I think if he gets good, again, like he was 2 years ago, from what we expected, Hopgood's a lock-in. But again, I don't know if it's worth starting with any of them, but I love them as draft prospects. I had Williams as well in another draft too, and he was just a freak. Is he expected to be an edge?
At this stage, yes.
Yeah, so he played 6 games starting back rower last year, averaged 73. So with that, he's good value. He's about 100K's worth of good value. So I really like that. And again, the dual, like Parra's got 3 of them. There's teams with none. So yeah, they're all pretty interesting. And DeBellin, I just, soft spot for DeBellin. We'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I like them all, man. Genuinely.
Timmy, what are you thinking?
I'm steering clear just because there's a fair bit of depth and I just don't know what they're going to do there. Like if you got Jack as an 80-minute edge, sure, but they showed last year, the Eels and Jason Riles, that he was keen to sort of play in between the middle and edge, depending what was needed. And that they had sort of Kelma Tuolangi, who played pretty well last year, Kitione Kautonga, and both players I thought have been okay at times. But I thought Kautoga was really good, and I just don't know what the starting pack is going to look like. And Jesse sort of mentioned Jermaine Hopgood, and in my predicted 17s, I've kind of got him on the bench at the moment, which for a bloke who's, at his best, absolutely in and around that Origin team, I just think there's a big battle for minutes. Like, there's also a world where with Talon and Riley sharing the 9 role that maybe one of them spends a bit of time in the middle rotation as well. So I just don't know how many minutes are going to go around. And there might be some plum roles that come out of it and good Supercoach players, but as it stands, I just don't know which way it's going to be. But look, if we get to preseason and the trials and Jack plays on the edge and the word comes out that he's going to be an 80-minute man, then he'd be the one.
Trav, I reckon, at a guess, you're watching.
Yeah, I am definitely, absolutely. I've zero interest in any of these. Hop, no good. Jack DeBellin, I really like. Junior Paulo, I'm a fan of his. And Jack Williams, I spoke heaps of praises in a lot of our podcasts last year, NRL and Supercoach. But just this year at 610, if I'm going to weigh up that price between him and Angus Crichton, who's exactly the same price, I'll tell you where I'm going, and it's not Jack Williams. So, like, yeah, I'm steering off and I'm watching.
Yeah, no, absolutely, very, very valid points. 2RF, just mentioned Jack Williams, Kitio to Katoga for 537k. Just mentioned Jermaine Hopgood with the duel. Kelma Tuolangi, 215k. Just mentioned Jack DeBellin. Dylan Walker, 420k. Ryan Madison is still there, guys. Do not worry, he's not hasn't gone anywhere. 407k. Charlie Geimer, 404k. Luca Moretti, 350k. Jordan Semrani with a centre wing duel, 342k. Matty Dury, 298k. Sam Tuivasa, 291k. And Tony Mataeli, 235k. So straight away, straight to Timmy's point just before, like there is huge depth here at the moment. There's actually like all those names, it wouldn't surprise and they wouldn't look out of place if they are in that starting 17 to start round one with Tim. So you make some really valid points and probably just going to echo what you said about the front row forwards. But 2RFs, it's just, again, a wait to see who gets what roles. Maybe watch the first few weeks to see what the minutes are as well, because that'd be massive. What are you thinking?
Yeah, you nailed it on the head, mate. It's not too different to that front row rotation. I mean, the thing with NRL these days is so many players can switch between the edge and middle so easily. Like, even I feel like only a few years ago, and I could be wrong in saying this, but you had sort of your more out-and-out edges, and there was like when they spoke about a Taumalo moving between edge and middle, or so many a Dave Fafita going from edge to middle, and it was kind of a foreign thing. It just happens week to week at the moment. Like, I mean, you look at the Dragons with players like Hamish Stewart and Dylan Egan and all these players, Luciano Leilua. You don't know where they're going to start each week, and it's almost they're such different roles on the field, but you feel like the ability for players to do it and for back roles is becoming quite easy. So for that reason, as super coaches, it makes it really hard to predict, as I said, where the players will line up in round one.
Trav, there's just so many players here. It's impossible.
15. There's 15 on this list, man. Like it's redonkulous, eh? But like, look, there's lots of really, really good players. Like I'm a huge fan, and I'll echo what Tim said before about Katonga. I just think he's your edge. He has to be on one of those edges. The dude's a stud. Tulangi just played so well last year with the minutes he's got that he saved his career. To be fair, in my opinion, you've got Jack DeBellin coming through. And then you got, like, I think one of the best mid-season signings in Dylan Walker. And, like, where are you fitting all these guys? Because they're all good players. And then you add Geimer, Moretti, Dury. Like, there's big raps about those guys. Like, it's just, to me, wonderful players. They're just in the wrong situation for us for Supercoach.
Just sounds like you're giving us the premiership this year. Well done, Jason Riles. Jesse, anything further to add for this? It seems like it's basically the same sentiments all around the table.
Yeah, far too many mouths to feed. And unfortunately, there's no value with any of them either. There's none that you can kind of even add a stretch go, look, I know there's a lot of options and there's a good minute split, but he's still good value. There's still some sort of price here that you can make coin on to start. There's just none of that. Everyone's priced to what they'll do, basically what they did last year. So, no.
Plenty of mouths to feed, and plenty of those boys are hungry. So give them some minutes, please. Halfback. So the guy that I reckon we'll spend a little bit of time here and have a good chat around is Mitchell Moses at 543k. Already I've seen him feature in plenty of teams out there. He was in my team for quite some time. Ronald Volkman, 235k as well. So just quickly from my point of view, I had Mitchell Moses from basically when the app opened so far up until about an hour and a half ago. Coming off what we spoke about with our previous episode featuring the Sharks, how we spoke about Nico Hines and the like, I managed to free up some coin to get Moses up to Nico Hines to start the year, which I really don't mind. But in saying that, I know plenty of people are really keen on Mitchell Moses. Trav, I'll go to you first here. I think you've had him in and out of your team quite a bit so far. What's making you toss things up?
He's 543k and he's kicking, like, as a halfback. That's what's making me toss it up. Otherwise, it's Hines, and I'm so glad you did that. At least I I rubbed off on somebody, and you already gone and got Nico Hines, Joel, because I spoke so highly about Nico Hines. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know just yet. It's the 14th of January as we do this podcast release, whenever it is going to be. And I want Mitchell Moses because he's that price, but I also want Nico Hines. And so, yeah, like I know that adding the kicking, because how much extra kicking points did Lomax get?
Jesse, that's your domain, mate.
I'll come back to it in a second.
You'll go on.
Yeah, but it was like I think it was 11. I think it was 11 extra points he averaged. So there's 11. Let's just say Mitchell Moses has 11 in a team that wasn't as good last year. I think Para are even better this year. So let's be safe and say 11 on top of that average. We're looking at 66 points at 543. Like at worst, he's going to make me 100 to close to 120, hopefully 150, and then I can turn him from there to Nico Hines. The only concern I've got with Mitchell Moses is just literally whether he stays on the park. That's the only thing I've got with him. I'm happy for you guys to talk me out of it, but yeah, that's where I'm positive about Mitchell Moses.
Jesse, did you get those numbers?
Yeah, it was 9. Lomax averaged an extra 9 points than he did with kicking. So, like you put that 9, call it 10, call it 12, whatever you want to call it, it's going to put Moses back to his traditional career average as a halfback. And he's underpriced at the moment because of all the injuries last season, naturally, and the kicking that he lost. Now he's going to be the guy. There's no Dylan Brown. His kicking's his again. He's underpriced. Like, he's going to be the most popular, most selected halfback to start the year. I've got no, qualms about that either. I think it's fair, and I think you're going to make coin on him. But again, I just don't think he's really going to push the echelon of like a Nico Hines or a Cleary, even at his best. I feel like Jerome Hughes kind of separated himself from that pack with Moses recently when he got the Dally M, and there's tiers to it in halves, and unfortunately Moses for me is just not that top tier guy. But you're not paying top tier price for him either. You're paying a bit of value, so I like the pick. I do. It's just I would probably try and go out of my way to find the coin to upgrade off him to start with if I could, just because of the position that it is. I just think half is too valuable to have someone that you will intend to trade up eventually, hoping he makes coin.
Where are you sitting, Tim?
Yeah, he's in my team at the moment. I'm keen on him, but I am cooling a little for similar sort of reasons that Jesse mentioned about the tiers, and he's definitely undervalued, but he's not dirt cheap, right? And even you talk about the injuries in that last year. He had injuries that probably limited his return to footy and that when he did come back, but he still played 80 minutes per game in his 13 games. 8 of his 13 games were under 50 points. He had, I think, 3 or so scores there in the 30s, which were all 4 in the 30s, which were all early 30s. The goal kicking's the big one, right? In what we all believe to be a very much improved Parramatta side. I think why I've got in my team at the moment is just eye test, and he's just bloody good. And I think we all, anyone with eyes in rugby league can see that he's getting to the peak of his career and playing his best footy when he's on the park. And averaged 56 last year, years prior, 64, 68, 70. There's definitely an uptick in coming with the goal kicking as well. But it doesn't always start the season like that. We know the defenses are pretty sturdy. It's harder to put these points on early. He scored 109 in the final game last year, scored 3 tries and had a try assist, which kind of makes you feel a bit sick in the stomach because that's not going to happen in the first 5 rounds. So
yeah.
I think he's one where he's in my team at the moment. He'll be a big watch in the preseason to see how he looks, see how Parramatta looks. But, if we get a few cheapies come along or we get sort of close to round 1 and there's a bit of money left in my cap, it's an extra 100K to Jerome Hughes, who I, again, don't think too many are going to go near. Hughes is another one who's undervalued. He is undervalued because of injuries in games where he had an average reduced. So it's a tough one, boys. It's going to be a big talking point all preseason, but as it stands, he's in my team.
Yeah, I reckon that's going to be the story of Mitchell Moses in his off-season, all up until the kickoff of round 1. People will be going in and out with Moses. They'll look to free up funds and have him in the team, and it makes other positions maybe look a little bit better, or they'll go, I need someone like Nico Hines. I just need to start with him. Let's go to 5'8". So Joash Papali at 340K and Jonah Pessett, new recruit from the Melbourne Storm, 235K. dirt cheap. I don't think I've seen a team yet without him. Could become easily the most popular player chosen in Supercoach. I want to throw you a little curveball, Tim. Is there any reason why people shouldn't be going to Pezzett at this stage?
There's a few. Like, again, I've got him and he'll be pretty popular. But, again, like Mitchell Moses, we know is going to be very dominant as a ball player in this side, especially with Dylan Brown gone. He's going to take up a lot of those attacking opportunities. I think a few of us will probably have memories of Tom Duffy at the start of last year, which just did not end well.
Don't remind us.
Yeah, and there are players in the halves, in the cheapy halves, like an Ethan Sanders out there who there might be a few options that we can go with, depending on who we want to partner with them and the way we want to play our halves positions. But, like, he'll be very highly owned for good reason, probably going to be in my team. But in terms of, like, playing devil's advocate and trying to find reasons why not, like, the club have also shown a fair bit of faith in Josh Papali, or Papali, I should say. So, like, it wouldn't stun me to see Pezzett start the first 2 rounds and then we drop for Papali by round 3. That being said, at the price, he's a very good footballer. I'm just getting his numbers up now from last year. So in his big minute games, there weren't many of them, 46 and 82 minutes, only one. So look at the price. I think it's one that I'll take a gamble on, but I don't think it's probably the lock and load that people are thinking.
Is there any worries here, Trav, about getting stuck? If you start with Pezzett, doesn't do much, he's very, very cheap, or it just becomes enough sort of position your second 5'8" very quickly?
The key word there is second 5'8", right? 5'8's already almost a dead position, bar 1 or 2 players. So if I get stuck with Jonah Pezzett as enough as my second 5'8", so be it. Like I don't really care.
What happens if your 5'8 gets injured?
What happens if he's starting 5'8"?
Then he'll flex out and I'll trade him to someone else.
Fair.
Yeah, Jesse, tell us who's your starting 5'8 currently?
He is. It's my starting 5'8". I'm fine with it. Who cares? Let him go. If he flexes out, he flexes out. That's the way I'm looking at it. But no, he's cheap. He's dirt cheap. I'm running with him and Tamari Martin currently. And you know what? I don't really have much of an intention to change that, providing, someone really puts their hand up in the preseason. But he's got 11 career games with 80 minutes as a half, and he's averaged 42. So the one game that he played last year for is 46.
46.
You could probably expect a 40. And that's what I said to you off air, Joel. If I can get a 40 out of Pezzett, that's enough. Genuinely. Until the season opens up and things change and there's coin in the bank and you can start to do things with it, I'm more than happy to take the coin. The next 5'8 that I like, that I would actually put in my team, is going to be mid 500s.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of coin, man. That's over 300k away. And I just don't want to roll the dice on anyone else. So I'm going to have him anyway.
Just digressing with the 5'8 chat, but it's mid-January. We're still going to hedge around everything that's happening in the off-season, niggling injuries, all that. Tamari Martin, are you expecting him, to start and Harris to Vida go to the bench, or what's the thoughts there?
We did speak about the Warriors yesterday. There wasn't much of an intention to start him at all, to be honest. It was more so like, who's cheaper than Pezzett? If I'm going to run with this guy as my starting 5'8 for value, I need someone else to be cheaper than him, because then all of a sudden, the balance is gone. No real expectation there, but with Metcalf out for, extended time, who knows how the halves look? There's an opportunity potentially for him to get a look in. If that happens, then I might even swap the two. And I might even have Tamari Martin as my starting 5'8 if I end up starting with them. But in the meantime, I don't really see an issue with the whole Pezzett play at low risk, super low risk, but very hard to get off if something goes really south. So, yeah.
There's one thing I say on Pezzett at the moment. There's a lot of really great football judges out there who rate this kid highly. Like, they have just said for a while now, he's screaming for consistent football week in, week out, which he just hasn't had at an NRL level, unfortunately, obviously being at the Melbourne Storm and being behind a bloke called Cameron Munster and Jerome Hughes for a number of years now. So who knows if he does translate into a Supercoach player. We will soon find that out. I reckon very, very early on as well. But one thing is for sure is that he's a quality player. I'm very keen to see how it works out there. I think Mitchell Moses is almost a perfect halfback for him to be paired with. And the other good thing is with Moses out when it comes to Origin and potential, his injury runs last few years hasn't been great either. Pezzett would become that man straight away. so he'll shift into that halfback position, and that's money for gold, I reckon, when it comes to Supercoach as well. Literally everything will go through his hands, so very keen for that. Centre wing, we've got Josh Addo-Carr, 591k, Will Panasini, 498k, Bailey Simonson, 454k, Sean Russell, 409k, Jordan Semrani with a 2RF duel, we've spoken about him a little bit earlier. There is also Brian Kelly from the Titans, so I'll quickly just bring up the Gold Coast Titans looking here. So Brian Kelly is at 550k as well. Trav, what about any interest from any of those players on that list?
You will not have any of them in my team. I'm sorry. I just, yeah, I don't know. Like, no, I have absolutely no interest in any of them. Sorry, I'm just going to be straight up. We've got time constraints, and we want to use the great man here below me to and hear his stuff. So no interest from me.
Jesse, any different for you?
No, not at all. Hey, not even on a draft perspective. I just don't like him.
There's something about Bailey Simonson getting a wing spot I like.
I'd pick up Addo-Carr in a draft, but I wouldn't do it in Supercoach.
Yeah.
He was a sneaky pick last year, Josh Addo-Carr. He climbed up quite nicely to there. Timmy, can you talk any sense into these boys, or you're jumping on the don't even go there train?
No, I'm jumping on the don't go there train. Don't want to go near any of them. Brian Kelly is a watch, just because I think he's a bloody good footballer, at least with ball in hand. His defence is all over the shop, but the Titans are a rabble, especially defensively. So if the Eels do start strong, he can score well, Supercoach. And I feel like, and this is sort of top of the head, but I feel like his base and power have dropped a bit in recent years. And I could be wrong in saying that, but I feel like not long ago there were tackle busts and offloads and a lot more to his game, which haven't been there for a year or two. So if he comes down to the Eels with a bit of a new lease on life, he'll be a watch. But at the same time, if they pick Bailey Simonson, Brian Kelly might not even play round one. So no, it's a no-go for me.
Jesse, I can see you working your fingers there. Talk to us.
Yeah, I just did some quick statting. You're right. For the last 3 years, he has regressed. 2023 was his big season, based in power 48, average 64. 2024 was a 60 average. Last year was a 56 average. It's still good. Like, it's still pretty impressive stuff. Like, his base and powers, at the least in the last 3 years, been 42. So it's solid, like it's reliable work. It's like a Ramian spec, you know what I mean? Like you're going to get that kind of workload out of him. Pretty consistent scores, very little swing up and down. I expect that out of Brian Kelly, and I don't think that'll change at the Eels too. If anything, yeah, maybe a new lease on life, getting away from Titans is gonna light a fire under him. I think it's well needed. So
there's a Supercoach player there. It's just a matter of whether or not we see it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing to bear in mind is what happens with Lomax and the player swaps and things like that. So if it's like a Howarth type, that's a centre that's going to play around with a lot of the Eels. So that's why, to me, it's a watch and see for a while.
Oh, Howarth, come on down on so many levels. Jeez.
Now, you can have Blore. I'm not giving you Howarth, but I'll give you Blore.
Mate, you guys don't have a choice in this. This is an NRL podcast, but Storm, just play along, please. Play nicely. Fullback Isaiah Iongi, who was just an absolute stud last year in every meaning of that word, from an NRL point of view, from a Supercoach point of view, everything. He was just killing it. I'm anticipating him just to go to another level this year. I'm so excited to see him play. He's at 640k, the only option here for the Eels. Easy guaranteed start for the Eels as well. No questions about that. Obviously, he does have Joash Papali as his backup, but he won't be there anytime soon, in my opinion. So, Timmy, it is much bigger bickies than we paid for him last year, unfortunately. But for that, I probably won't go there. I can't. There's a lot better value around it at this present stage. What are you thinking?
Yeah, look, he's done wonderful things for me, Isaiah Iongi, last year. Started with him, and I remember the big talking point last season with the flex coming in was, do you go to the fullback's position and just lock and load with 3 guns, or do you add Iongi in there? And fortunately, I went Iongi, and I think he, from memory, started maybe a little bit slow, around 1 or 2, and then he hit his strap. So earned me a ton of money. He was really playable, and then I think even when I sold him, he went to another sort of level and earned another 100-odd K. But at the price point, I just think there are other players who I'll be chasing who I think are better value, but wouldn't shock to see him come out and set the world alight again in his second year.
I was ultra patient with him last year and actually got to benefit from a lot of what he did. These boys above weren't as patient. I remember them both
Not
getting
at all.
off quite early.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
got
see you
off in
later.
round 3 or 4. I got Gutho before he went bang, and I was like, you know what? Iongi will make money. I'll take the instant 300k right now, thank you. And I'll just watch Iongi from a distance. But I think he's good, man. Like he's going to improve, I reckon. There was all this talk about him in getting, finding that next level when Moses came back. It didn't change his stats at all, funnily enough. Like if you look at, he played 10 games without Moses last year, averaged 64.9. You throw Moses into the mix, he played 11 games with him, he averaged 66. So there was very little deviation. Like he's a good player. I think the improvement is due, and it's going to happen just with time and age. But yeah, it's a lot of coin to start with him with what we have underneath him in price. Keeney, Fuller, even
Right.
yeah, exactly. Gray, you've got Ponga cheaper. Like there's a lot going at fullback this year. So yeah, you've got to really have a lot of faith from him last season to start with him again. Maybe his friends and family will.
Just sounds like a draft play, Trav.
Sounds like a really good draft play. Yeah, yeah. That's
Pretty much
that
it.
threw me off. That
Oh,
threw me off because I
actually,
wasn't expecting go there. But yeah. Look, yeah, I did the exact same thing as Jesse did with Gutho last year, and then watched in that week that I traded him out. He got 107 against the Dragons, and I was like, oh shit. But I enjoyed the cash, and then had to try and find ways to deal with Gutho's 30s and 40s that he was getting. That was
Toughed
fun.
off.
Whilst he made the 300k, but yeah, look, Jesse, one thing to consider is that he's now done a full preseason, or going to do a full preseason with Moses. Moses is going into this season healthy, and he's another year older, knowing that the fullback spot's his. So I think even with those numbers with Moses turned up in the middle of the year out of sort of nowhere and didn't
Yep.
really train or do anything, as we all have heard. So yeah, I actually predict Iongi is going to make a hell of a lot more points and get a bigger average. But yeah, at 654 right now, I'm not getting him.
Just quickly, Jesse, was there many 90-plus point games from Iongi last year?
There was a few.
Yeah.
One,
There was.
2, 3, 4 games.
I think there'll be more than that this year for sure, in my
comfortably.
opinion. So
Yeah.
And 2
Interesting.
80s. 3 80s, my bad. So 84 and 86 and an 83. So there was 7 games, 80 and above.
Yeah, it's good. Good going.
Anything else to add, boys, on the Parramatta Eels?
Not for
No,
me.
No.
that's it.
don't think so, mate. We covered them pretty well. There's, not too much to touch on, I don't think.
Seems like there's a couple of pretty decent plays here. A lot of it seems like watching at the moment, TLTs, things like that, early round minutes and the like. And then there could be some really good plays by like that sort of round 4-5 sort of mark, and we start to see what's actually happening there at the Eels. Let's move on over to our next team tonight. That is the Melbourne Storm. So plenty of player departures and outs and things like that. So this one will be an interesting chat to see where some plays are potentially happening. So for the first 5 rounds for the Storm, round 1 against the Eels at home, round 2 the Dragons away, round 3 the Broncos at home, round 4 is the Cowboys away, and round 5 is the Panthers away. On the injury front for the Melbourne Storm, unfortunately, obviously Eliesa Katoa has been confirmed to not be playing this year, out with that horrible injury. Trent Liera is currently suspended until round 3 as well. And I've got a note here, Sean Bloor, potential suspension as well. I think there's a little bit of off-field, who knows, what's going on. So nothing confirmed yet, but keep an eye on that one. So yeah, there could be some really interesting plays here that we'll get stuck into and talk about. So hooker, obviously Harry Grant, 606K. Last year averaged 62. We actually spoke, funnily enough, about Blake Brayley on the previous episode. Go check it out for the Sharks, and he's overtaken Harry Grant now as the top spot for this position. But does that mean Harry Grant's to be under the radar for you, Jesse, or you definitely got your eyes on him?
Yeah, I've got my eyes on him a fair bit, to be honest. Harry Grant's a 70-point hooker. He's a 70 average for the last 5 years, barring last season. He's going off that with his low 60s average. It's like, well, yeah, of course. It's like it's Harry Grant. there's a change up at the Storm now. Like they've got no Pap. The whole middle's been reconstructed now. Katoa's out, potentially Blore. There's so many things changing. So like you're gonna have to fall back to these like pillars in the side. And the Storm have such a great spine, and that's what everyone knows them for. So yeah, I think if any year is going to be like a step up just in responsibility and role, like this has got to be the year for Harry Grant with everything happening around in Melbourne. With his price, I think, it's good value. It's low upside in the position, swinging 100K up and down here and there, but he's pedigree, man. Like you really can't go wrong. I think getting him at 600, you can almost lock him in and just ride him out until Origin and decide what to do then. But yeah, it's never ever a problem having Harry Grant to start. It's terrifying.
Trav, we all can see the paraphernalia in the background. We all know by now that the Storm faithful, the Storm supporter of the podcast. Talk to us. As the fan, are you putting the heart first, the head first? Are they both the same? Are they making the same decision?
Look, he's been in my team many times because I think he's the best hooker in the competition. I also think he's the best Supercoach hooker in the competition, and Brayley was a freak for the last 12 games. I think with the run, I love to start off with for the Storm. They got Para at home first. What are we, 20-odd games in a row, winning the first game, winning round one. So, like, that's a big game. Then we got the Dragons away. Then we got the Broncos at home in a grand final matchup. Then we got the Cowboys who play no defense. Then we got Panthers. Like, I like our run, especially for someone like Harry Grant, who's that ball-playing, running hooker. And yeah, like I will try to find the cash. At the moment, it's, as I said to you in the last podcast, it's on Simpkin, but I'm not 100% sold on that and that buy that he's got in round 2 or 3, sorry. Yeah, so if I'm going to swap, I'm going to get Harry Grant. And if I was deciding, to be honest, between Grant and Brayley to start with, I'm going Grant solely based off the value.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timmy, we've said here for a long time, the Storm have been so good over the last number of years with this star-studded spine, being able to juggle who's doing what and realising quite early on in games who's being the star of the show and they get the ball, they own it. I have a feeling this year, because of the loss of Pappy, a few more injuries around some of those key sort of players like Katoa, who's been such a focal point in attack, we'll get a very different version of Harry Grant. I think he'll do a lot more. I think he'll be a lot more busier. And I know they've still got their star-studded halves pairing there for sure. But yeah, there's something about Harry Grant. What about for yourself?
Yeah, he's in, boys. Best hooker in the game. Has the potential to end his career as the best hooker in rugby league history. I know it's a long way to go, but he's just that good. And from our Supercoach perspective, everything he does translates really well to Supercoach. And let me just reframe: the second best hooker of all time behind a certain Cameron Smith. So I'll just check myself there before people blow up. But he's a gun. Yeah,
can we snip that? Let's snip it.
Do not snip that up. I'll never come back and snip that up. Numbers will do well, though. Yeah, you touched on it really well. 62 average last year, 70 plus the 5 years prior. If he wasn't in, again, one of the greatest spines we've seen in rugby league, he'd probably average 85 plus in a heartbeat. And the fact that we can pick him up at such a dirt cheap price for what we know he's capable of. I think last year he started the season with a 60-odd, 65-odd average, but
61,
I remember 60, and I remember doing numbers, you probably got them there, but in years at the start of last season, looking at how he started, and it was outstanding. There was always that lull over the Origin period with, probably running it a little bit less and getting reduced minutes, a few rests here and there sort of thing, but tends to start the season well and in a position that, as you boys said already, it's a bit of a blood-driven position. It always is. So if I can lock in Harry Grant and whoever the cheapy hooker is come round 1, I'll happily do that. And to change my mind, there'd have to be 2 really good-looking 80-minute hookers in round 1 at sub 350K, but I don't see that happening.
What are you saying, Jake Simpkin doesn't entertain you?
Yeah, well, he entertains me, but he's not under 350, so I can't do it.
Jesse, I know you were looking at the screen a lot there. Did you have anything else to add numbers-wise? Or
No, I was just looking at the start for Grant, and I think we ran those sort of numbers as well in the 5 games. Last year and 2024, they were a bit average, like for his average anyway, like better than most, genuinely. Last year in the first I've just narrowed it down to 8 rounds. He played 5 of them, 57 average. The year prior, played 7 for a 64. And then going back to those other 3, 74, 87, 75 in the first 8 rounds. Like, it's huge, man. He does go bang. So it's good value. We've got an opportunity to get Grant at like the lowest he'll probably be this year to start. So, yeah.
And his price and his average is a little bit. The story's not told properly. Like, there was 2 games there against Penrith in round 3 that he got a 26. The last game against the Bulldogs, he got a 25. Like, you put that back up to that 60, and his 62 average that he's got here is much higher. But then you also add in that, like, he started the year, so last year in his first 6 games, so 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 before he got injured and came back in 11. 61, that 26 against Penrith, then 70, 53, and 76. Like, they're pretty good numbers. Actually, they're better than pretty good numbers. They're fantastic numbers for a hooker when you take out that 26 from Penrith. So we're getting the best hooker, as Timmy said, for 606K. Like, just lock and load him until Origin, trade him out there, and then get him back to end the year.
What we do a lot on this podcast, Tim, is while we're talking and things like this, your mind's going crazy. Our teams change almost as we're talking. And at the moment, you're making a lot of sense as to why I'm about to tear my team apart to make Harry Grant my starting hooker, which will change things about 300K for me. So that's awesome. And I look
You'll
forward
find
to
as well, Joel, I'm very good at sounding convincing, but if you run some numbers and all that, you'll be like, what am I doing listening to this bloke? So yeah, do your own research. That's my word of warning.
No, you beat all of us last year as well. We didn't mention that, but just quickly, your season last year, very, very impressive.
Good year last year, mate. Yeah, about 560s, I think. So I tend to build towards the back end of the season and pray for a bit of late carnage. And then when people can't field teams, I've got the depth there and a few trades up the sleeve. And more often than not, that approach pays off. In 2024, there was next to no carnage and restings, and it didn't pay off. But that was the least on my ways. Yeah, a good year last year. So hopefully we can back it up this year.
And sorry to bring him up. But for your other show, you're obviously part of that. A lot of people listen to as well. Guru, you basically gave him the knockout punch towards the end there as well. It was great listening from your point of view. I think for Guru, he would have thought, let's just get this season over and done with.
Well, he beat me a few times in the early years of Beers and Break Even. It's because he sat there and took every bit of advice that I gave him. And every time he had a query, he just asked me and I'd tell him. And then after winning a few seasons in a row, no shock to anyone, he got arrogant and got confident and thought that he could do it himself. So he started going against me and he shit the bed. So, you wait for this year and watch him lean on all my words.
Yeah, we're very good at that here. We'll say something and then the week after we'll go back and listen to, hang on, we actually said to make that play. We didn't do it ourselves. So, Great fun. All right, let's get to FRS. So Stefano Toya Ukamano, 515K. Josh King, 483K. Alec McDonald with the 2RF dual, 333K. Josiah Pahulu, I'm very keen to see this guy go at the Storm this year, 268K. Tui Kamakamika, he ends up staying after heavy links to South for a lot of this off-season. He's back at the Storm, 248. And Lazarus Valepu at 235K. Trav, I'll let you start here. Any interest in any of these big boys?
Yeah, I have heaps of interest in Stefano. I'm just actually pulling up some numbers here. But in the last 5 games when Stefano came out of, basically let's just say once he started locking down the confidence and locked that spot down straight out of Origin, he averaged 71 points. So those last 5 games, he averaged 71. That's very good. And if we're going to we're getting that at 515 in a pack that's now lost Nas, that's not going to rely on Katoa, because Katoa's not just an edge, right? Katoa runs a lot through the middle for us and does a lot of early ball running, and then gets it for that 4th and 5th tackle where he becomes that kicking option or becomes that last pass sort of try-scoring finisher. We don't have that now, and we've got Josh King's obviously still there, and Tui's going to come off the bench, but I really hope he doesn't. like I like Tui, but yeah, I hope I don't want him in my team, as in the Storm team. Yeah, and we've got the young in Lasardi, we've got Valepu, we've got Pahulu. Like these guys are all young guys. So who do we need the ball in their hands? And it's Stefano at a 550k, 515k. I'm super keen on that. I won't start with him. I will be honest, but he is very high on my watch list in the front row forwards. But the problem is that he's in front row forwards and we have some studs in there. So that's why he's not in my team, but I do have interest and I'll be watching carefully.
Timmy, this is where I like to sit back. I saw Jesse's instant reaction to what Trav said. Jesse, go back, please.
Far out, just the ultimate curveball. We're talking, front row has just been in this elite position now. Haas, Keon, etc. Terrell May, Stefano, like damn. But you know what? To Trav's point, he was bloody good in good minute games too last year. Like very, very good. So expecting obviously minutes increase. Even still, with a liberal 47 minutes and above last season, he averaged 69 for Melbourne in 8 games. That's how many games he played over 47 minutes. So I didn't just, pick 47 out of my ass either. It was just, if it's 45 as an average, like that's really good, man. Like there's definitely value there. But again, it's like, I can't imagine a world where I overlook what we have at front row for Stefano, even if he is at 500k. So,
Timmy,
don't have much more to say on that.
Talk to us. Are you somehow getting pushed onto the Stefano train?
Not pushed on to him, but I'm with Trav in that he's a huge early season watch. Like there's a world where after round 2, he's the most popular most traded in player in round 3, where he just comes out and bellyache gives him 55 minutes and he's busting tackles, he looks fit and he's offloading, doing all these things. We go, shit, get him in. He's our stepping stone to Terrell and Payne Haas and these sorts of blokes. They'll probably run with a 4-forward bench, I suppose. I just don't know. Well, Tyron Wishart, who'll play through the middle sort of thing, but I just don't know what his minutes are going to look like and whether he'll play that early 40s, whether he goes to 50 plus. He was a new man coming out of the Origin camp, as we see happen to players and debutants time and time again. But yeah, Stefano could be a well beater. I just need to see something before I take the risk of jumping on.
Yeah, and I think that's the same story with the 2 young guns, Pahulu and Valepu. He's just early watchers to see, firstly, if they get in the team. Secondly, the sort of minutes that they do play, because they both could turn into some good, decent value options. Travi, is it looking like Pahulu might get a start early on, or is he still?
It does. It does. But Jesus, there's so much up in the air with what's going on. And Liero being suspended early doesn't help that situation either for those minutes for those younger guys like Pahulu, like Valepu, like Leo, although Leo's been talked around the edge and centres. But it is just a wait and see. And look, Pahulu's in my team at that 269 just because of the talent, because that we really wanted to get him and we fought to try and get him. We're crying out for someone to replace that and become another forward. Another middle forward for us. That's what we're hoping he is. But we'll just, it's just a wait and see. At the moment, it's Stefano and King, and then what happens with Liero, and then what comes off the bench. And I think for those cheapy options, just wait a couple of weeks just to see once Liero gets back, because Liero is the 13. So, and then that'll just shift everyone back into where it should be in the normality of the Storm.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear all three of your thoughts on the 2RF situation here at the Storm. So obviously Katoa not an option, unfortunately, this year. Trent Liero, 557k. Sean Bloor with that possible suspension hanging over his head at 519k. Just spoke about Alec McDonald. Joe Chan, 309k. And we've already just spoken about Lasardi there at 269k as well. Timmy, there's seems like there's some options potentially opening up here on the edges for the Melbourne Storm, where we're now to be in some pretty decent scoring sort of spots as well, especially Katoa's but he's also a freak, so that helps that he scores a lot. But there's an option for someone like Joe Chan or the like, whoever gets it, that it could be a really good option.
Yeah, I mean, I think whoever starts on the edge with, let's say, Sean Bloor, if he is to be available, whoever starts with him is going to be very highly owned, whether I suppose it'll be Joe Chan, but like they love Atavalu Lasardi, he was really good last year as well. He can play on the edge. Whether or not the wild card will be, as you said, with Loiero back a couple of rounds in, like they could start with Chan on the edge and Lasardi at lock, and then Loiero comes in at lock and Lasardi goes to the edge. I would imagine that Bellamy, whoever he picks to play on the edge, he'd probably want to start him there from round one. So whoever's named there round one is probably going to be in my team. Like, there's risk to it because they could drop back to the bench on any given week because they do have a few options. But yeah, I think whoever it is should probably be in most teams.
I am very tempted on whoever it is that does start, Jesse.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, there's too much value there to not have whoever is starting for that edge in Melbourne. I think it's just a no-brainer. I am worried that we'll get suckered in though. With the early stuff that'll happen with Melbourne. It happened last year with Joe Chan. You know, we got that start in round one. People changed last second. They got him in their teams. And then he was dropped or benched very, very soon after. So then you're stuck with him and you're just thinking, where do I go from here? Like, I got to wait for someone else to put their hand up to make this trade, it almost feels unnecessary. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Whoever is named in round one, I'm still not going to be 100% certain they're going to be there in round 2 or 3 when everyone's sort of back into it. But there's obviously value. They're quite light on for, like there's not a lot of stocks here. If there's an issue with Blore and in his, eligibility to play, I don't even know where that is, if it's in the air or not. But, losing Blore and Katoa for some amount of time, like that's going to suck. They don't have a great wealth of talent to throw up in there, and then depth is going to be questioned at the same time. So there's a lot of faith on these dudes to perform well, and they're cheap. They're cheap enough. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 of these dudes in my team. I can pretty well see it now.
Well, the other one there, boys, is sorry, mate, just going to say combinations, right? Like, you don't want the edge back row outside Cam Munster because he hops and jumps and steps all over the place and he doesn't know what he's doing. He makes it work, but he doesn't know what he's doing, and you don't really want to be the edge back rower. Yeah, which has been Blore in recent years. So let's assume Sean Blore, let's say he plays round 1 and he stays on the left. The fact that it's going to be someone running off Jerome Hughes, who's one of the best ball players, and we know his combination with Eli Katoa, and Eli Katoa is one of the best back rowers in the NRL, if not the best. So it's like we're not expecting the same, but if a cheapy back rower lobs outside Jerome Hughes, like how good a combination is that going to be?
Oh, it's Trav. I want personally. I'd go Joe Chan, but you keep saying Lasardi.
Yeah, I do. And I think that's where they'll go. And I hope that's what they do. I really like what he does. I love his big body. He's athletic too. So the thing is that you can't replace Eli Katoa. That's basically impossible in our day and age. But if you're going to do it, put a big body like Lasardi. And I like that. The other thing and the other option that I just want to mention that don't sleep on, because I have had a chat to a couple of people that are in and around, is there is a bit of a chat that Howarth may get pushed over and Leo comes in at the center. So then there's also that as well. So there's just a few combinations that, you're right. And everyone has summed this up really well, is wait and see what happens TLT, and whatever it is that it's done, make that move. Until then, just sort of play around with it or figure out what that figure is and just see what you've got.
I've got the solution for you. This whole player swap thing, I've got it now. They've obviously offered Zach Lomax the edge back rower role. He's coming over he keeps wanting to be centre, and the Storm go, we'll do better for you. We'll actually get you closer into the action. You can come over and be our edge back rower. So keep an eye on that one. Howard to the edge.
No, thanks. He doesn't play defense, so no thanks.
He came through as a second rower, didn't he, Jack?
He did.
Howarth? Pretty much.
Yeah, we signed him. We signed him as the next big edge back rower. That's what we signed him at. Was it 1.5 mil or something like that over a big deal or something like that, and it was something silly, and we put him at the centers because we got desperate, and then have a look at what he did. He went nuts.
Yeah.
I think it was from memory, I'm sure it's like a $500,000 deal, like a $2.5 million deal over like 5 years. I swear it was worth about $500,000. I could be wrong, but it was absurd.
Yeah, it was.
And then he didn't play for the first 3 years. Like, what's he doing?
He didn't. Yeah, that's exactly right.
We all kept picking him early rounds in Supercoach start. We go, this guy's massive, got massive raps, and then just nothing. We're like, what is going on? Halfback for the Storm, Jerome Hughes at $631K. Tyron Wishart, newly signed with the Bears for next year with the 5'8" dual, 402. 32K, and Trent Turlow, new recruit from the Penrith Panthers, 235K. Tim, you mentioned him a bit earlier, so I'll let you start with this one. Jerome Hughes is on your radar.
It's a tricky spot halfback, isn't it? Like we spoke about Mitch Moses before, who's going to be popular. Naturally, you sort of go, all right, he's probably the value play, but then you go, do you just lock in the guns in Nico and Nathan Cleary to start the season, but you're paying top dollar for them? Hughes is probably the genuine undervalued one, right? Like his last two games last season, he played 25 minutes and 43 minutes. He had a couple of other sort of shorter minutes early in the year, a 60 and a 67, 65-point average for the year prior, 82. And we know how good a footballer this bloke is. He sort of creates his own luck. He runs a lot. He busts tackles. He offloads. He does everything. So, yeah, I like him. I said I've got Moses at the moment. My knock would probably be what is the impact of no Eli Katoa going to be, because those two were just a match made in heaven, and the combination they produced in recent years, and the amount of not only just like straight try assists that Hughes would get off Eli Katoa, but you just felt like 2-3 times a game he was just giving him short balls and putting him through a hole for line assists. So that's probably my major knock on him. I don't think I'll go him, but I could have my arm twisted, well, I was going to say by round one, but by the end of this podcast.
Well, Trav, that is literally the reason why I just haven't really looked at Jerome Hughes so far to start with, because I just want to see how that new combination does work out. Hopefully it doesn't impact Hughes' numbers too much and we can have him at some stage. But what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I've had him in my team a lot, but I've said that about every bloody one. So, like, that's the benefit of having
60,000 teams.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have. The screenshots that have gone through to Jesse, now that Timmy's been on our page, he'll start getting. We're ready to go. But I don't send him to Joel because he's got no idea, Tim. But we'll leave it at that. So he's in my team. So this is the 2024 Dally M winner, and he won the Dally M because he didn't have Munster, and he just went nuts, right? So last year in those games, he still put up a 64 as an average, and yet, Tim, as your stats just said, there was a 6 in there, and a 32, and a 16. So, like, at 631K, like, you're right, you've summed it up. Halfback is really hard, and it's a really interesting position because for 100K or 90K cheaper, you get Moses. For 90K or 100K, or less than 100K more, you get Nico Hines, who's the king of halfback Supercoach. And if you can find more money for 200 more, you've got Cleary. Like, it's a really, really hard position, but this guy's a superstar, and he's got another year this year. And I read a nice little piece the other day about Hughes talking about around that there's all this chat that Eli Katoa made Jerome Hughes, but Jerome Hughes turned it around and said, well, actually, maybe I was the one that made Eli Katoa. So, I think there's a chip on his shoulder this year as well. I think there's also the fact that he's 31. There's he's starting to get to the end of his career, even though we have re-signed him and things like that. Like, he knows that we're in premiership window. Yeah, I have absolutely no knock on it. No, I don't know. I've got Moses. I want Hines. I want Hughes. They're the three.
Jesse, I just want to say, paint a picture for everyone either not watching this one or potentially has been watching. I hope your computer doesn't blow up anytime soon, because you've looked like someone who's at like a courtroom, who's that typer who just continues
He's
to
got his screen behind him.
You have not stopped.
I haven't, no. And you know why? Because I have Jerome Hughes in my team, and I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm all about it. I think if I can find coin to Hines, I will. It will involve dismantling something, and I don't like that. And I will also probably not go any lower than him, genuinely. I think from him and up, there is good value. I just like Hughes, honestly. And I think the reason why my computer screen was going full friggin' Matrix mode was because I was checking him without Hughes, Katoa. Games with and without, like, where do the numbers kind of lie? They do look much better with Katoa, naturally. Like, you're going to expect that. There's no real, surprise on that one. But in 2025, he played 18 games with Katoa and none without him. He averaged 64.6. So in the games there, and 18. In 2024, 18 games with Katoa, he averaged 83.5. In games without, 66. So it was a big drop. In 2023, he played 14 games with Katoa, averaged 74.5, without 61. That was in 5 games.
Oh.
So it's a drop. It's a pretty significant drop. But again, like you make a lot of points getting a try assist or a line break or something that changes there. So yeah, it's a hard one. You're taking a points cut, but you're just hoping he makes it up somewhere else. Or that the second rower that he has, just picks up some of the slack. Maybe not all of it, because you can't replace Katoa. But they're going to have to do something. Like, they're not just going to be a piece of wood out there and do nothing. So I still like Hughes. I think he's good value, and yeah, it gives you a nice starting point from a halfback too, financially, where you're not too far away. You're not too far away to the top, and you're not. You can still pull value out of him if things go south before it gets bad, and go down to a Moses or something. So yeah, Trav?
I love that call, Jesse. No, I think that's a really good call. At 631, it's not hard to find 100K, where it's less than 100K, and get Hines. And it's not, and you can also, if Moses does do what, people are saying, you drop him down, and you make 100K, or basically 90K. That's a really good point that a lot of people don't consider, is that price point that he's at, 631.
Yeah.
Yep. No, let's go back over to his halves pairing partner, Cameron Munster, at 5'8", so 682K. Just spoken about Wishart, and then Stanley Hewen as well, 235K. Plenty of people are saying at the moment this 5'8" position is just an absolute headache for all the wrong reasons. It's either you go all the way up to Munster and you just don't worry about it, you're stress-free, or you're going basically all the way down on the opposite end of the price spectrum, and you're getting your peasants and things like that, and you could be stuck very, very early. Tim, I know you're going hard, and you've got Harry Grant, like you said earlier, in hooker. Does that mean you're going to be staying clear of Munster, or you can go the double?
Munster doesn't really interest me to start the season. He's a hard one to line up with draw as well. They've got a mixed sort of draw to start the season, some relatively easy games, but we know with Munster, it's like he can play against the worst team in the competition and score 20, and then he'll play an unbeaten Penrith outfit and put 130 on him. He just makes his own rules, that bloke, and he has a crack when Melbourne need him to. So, yeah, I've currently not got him in my team. I'm thinking probably maybe a little bit cheaper at 5'8".
He's got his Kuma internet going well for him.
The rule internet. That
was... the rule. Sorry.
Yeah, we've got there's just mad storms around. The internet's normally red hot, but it's I think the storms are playing a bit of havoc, so it's shitting itself. Sorry.
No, that's okay, mate.
Segment.
Yeah. No, that's that's great. Jesse, I'll let you go first while Timmy sorts himself out. Munster, we've said it multiple times already over the last few team preview podcasts. It's literally, are you going Munster or are you going value?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I'm a Munster truther. You know what I mean? I'm the first guy to throw Munster in my team. It's just, in my opinion, 5'8" is Munster, and you just don't worry about it. There's positions and there's certain players that you just get them and you go, fine, I don't care after this. You can put Jaden Campbell in that boat from last season as a 5'8". There's only a handful of these dudes that can do what you want. And everyone else, you're worried. You just have this, sense of dread when they step out. You're like, is it going to be a 20 or am I going to get something? With Munster, I just don't have that problem. You're going to get either a 50 or 100. And it's easy, man. I'll take the 50, I'll take the 100. Whatever it's going to be, it'll be. Again though, it's 680. That's big bickies. That's top dollar. You're either paying up for a 5'8" and you're getting the best 5'8", really, or you're not getting a 5'8" at all, and you go to the very opposite end of the spectrum and cash out. I just don't know. In anything in the middle, it just doesn't super interest me as much as he does in particular. But to Tim's point, he's one of those players that's not super draw dependent. The hard games kind of excel. The easy games, if you're chasing matchup, he's not the guy to chase matchup. He's the guy that will step back in an easy game and let everyone else do the hard work. So, yeah, you just have him and you ride that too. That's a long game with Munster. That's how you get really the most out of him. So, I like it. If you get him, you forget about every other 5'8" for the season.
Trav, in and amongst your 30,000 teams you've done so far, have you found ones that actually look decent with Munster in at 5'8"? Because like we've said, it does mean you spend up pretty decently.
Look, I'll be honest and say I haven't had him in my team. Most of my 5'8" have been Cody Walker. I will be honest. But so, look, and there's a very big disparity between Cam Munster and Cody Walker, but
One of them's good.
yeah. Don't be rude, especially with
Oh.
Timmy around, mate. Look, I will say something about Munster, and that did 2025 change your mind around that core game that Munster does around that 20? Because his lowest score last year was a 44 against 42 against the Roosters, the second last game, then a 44 against Penrith, and then 41 against Type. Like they're not low scores as a 5'8". And then in the back of that, for most of that year, he was averaging anywhere from 70 up to 80. Like, you know, are the days gone by of Munster, not turning up when he, when it doesn't matter and the Storm are dominating? Because I just don't think the Storm are going to win games like they have in the past. I don't think the Storm are going to dominate teams like they have in the past, which relies on Munster having to do a bit more, especially when we don't have, that dominating forward pack that we haven't had for a very long time. Katoa out, Blore maybe out, issues in the centres around what's going to happen there. Like, I don't know. I actually think Munster's a really good set and forget, and if I can find a way to do it, I'll do it. But I just want to be a bit of a devil's advocate there for that.
Well, I think Timmy was actually on that sort of train before the Storm basically wiped him out for us. Timmy, you were mentioning you weren't a massive Munster play at this stage.
Yeah, sorry, boys. The Storms are doing a bit of or the looming Storms. It's very ironic, isn't it? We're sitting here talking about the Storm while Storms are hitting. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm looking for more value at 5'8", and I don't disagree with the notion that you can probably somewhat set and forget him. But even then, like, you're going to get to the Origin period, and I know there's plenty of rounds and plenty of footy to play and points to be scored prior to that, but you can't. I don't think you can really set and forget him, because he will rest around the Origin period unless the Storm are really battling, which they rarely seem to be. So I'd be looking to find a player, get a bit of value out of them, increase their price, hopefully for a drop off in Munster, and turn him into Munster at some point. Yeah, just not for me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Centre wing, Xavier Coates, 636K.
Get on to Cody Walker. Just get on to Cody Walker. Just take my early advice.
I'll have no one.
So we did the Bloke in a Bar podcast on Monday, and I did a little snippet out of it, talking about how high I am on the Bunnies this year and how good their roster is, and in particular, like, we've spoken a little about Cody Walker, and everyone's like, injury prone. He won't stay on the field. He played 2 games. I'm like, look, he turned 36 about 3 days ago, so happy birthday, Cody. I know he's a big listener of the LOI podcast, and
he is.
Look, I get that he's a bit older. I get that he had a lot of injuries last year, but he's played 20-plus games essentially every year since he came into first grade. I'm not saying he's going to go and play every game this year, but I do feel like this rhetoric of him being injury-prone and getting hurt all the time is a little bit harsh off the back of one season. So all I'm saying is I think the Bunnies have a big year. He's dirt cheap. He's a weapon. So all aboard, me and Trav.
Left side, strong side as well, because that left edge, the photos that have been filtering around social media look absolutely mouthwatering. So it's only because, Timmy, just quick backstory with Jesse and Cody Walker. He has stung him, I think, what is it, every 2 time. Or 3 times now in draft?
It's every time. It doesn't matter. It's not draft. It's classic. It's both. It's just, I'll just roll the dice. I'll play a small punt. I'll be like, look, it's the time, Stars have aligned. There he is on the waivers. Let's grab him. Just get shafted. I may as well just... It's like, you know what? A man can only get stung so many times before you join Dallin in the no-go basket. So. Sorry, boys.
Speaking of centre wings, let's go back to him. Nick Meaney, 598K. Jack Howarth, 457K, with that asterisk next to his name. Sorry, Trav, he could be on his way to the mighty Eels. Will Warbrick, 413K, and Moses Leo, 235K. So going off your mail or what you've been hearing, Trav, and depending what happens, if Moses Leo can get this centre spot, he's going to be in pretty much everyone's team. This is going to be a great pick.
Oh, yeah, just literally just take the advice that all 4 of us have said and wait till TLT and see who's named. And if they are named, they're going to be a good pick. It really is. But, watch it with a buyer beware, as Tim said, around when Liero gets back and things like that, and the normality of the Storm's list starts to place back in. And then you'll see. But Leo at 235, we need a cheapy centre winger, and there's not too many at the moment that are screaming out to us like they have in the past. So get around him. I'm about
Tim,
to.
please. Tim, please do not laugh at me here, but why do I have Will Warbrick in my side still from basically when the app opened up? I put him in and I'm just for some reason I'm feeling him.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I make no promises about laughing, but Will
I
Warbrick.
told you he has no idea, Tim.
Firstly, I'm going to dash her hopes a little bit. I believe he's in doubt for round one and may not play the start of the season. So, to be fair, that'll be doing you a favour.
Thank you. Yes.
You know, I mean, let's flip this. You tell us why you've got Will Warbrick in your team.
Perfect.
2025 average 47, priced at 400k, and it's basically that player, that price point, last sort of position I could fill, and it just sort of worked. In my back of my mind, I'm just thinking, didn't have obviously a great run last year injury wise. There is parts of me that remembers him in 2024 actually being quite nice and decent and having some good sort of scoring runs there. And if I can just get on early and the Storm have a decent sort of run early, he can score some tries, then I was all for it. But I'll be very shocked if I end up starting officially with the app opening and everything and have him in my side. The rest of my centre wings, great. Like I do have some kind of idea. I've got Herbie, Iro, and Karaz at the moment with Warbrick. So,
gone hard.
Yeah, I have. We're big here at the moment with centre wings at the moment. We're going hard. So
no knock. I mean, I've got a knock on Warbrick, but the rest of the boys, scary. It's just scary to think that I'll be coming up against you and another 180,000 people, and you're starting that CT dub where notoriously you start with a mix of, mid-rangers and cheapies, and, they pump out 20s and 30s while your boys are going 80, 80, 80. So, nope, fair play.
We're not mucking around with that this year. Jesse, any centre wings here doing things to you?
Man, I thought second row was light on. Centre wing's dire, isn't it, for Melbourne? It's like you can almost wait for team lists, but then they're going to name 17 fit players, and it's all they've got left in their squad. So I don't think you have to worry about who you're selecting. Just throw Moses Leo on the bench. Just have him as your 6 or 7. He's going to probably get some minutes anyway. So not particularly. I kind of like Meany, and I feel like looking at the way that looking at these players here in front of us as going through the app, I don't know if they've got the luxury of throwing Meany at fullback. Because if Meany does get the 1, because I'm being ambitious here, I'm hoping for it as a goal kicking 1 in centre, like that's appealing, definitely. And I'll take that for, just shy of 600k. That would get me very, very tempted. Outside of that, not really. Maybe Howarth again. Slight value in Warbrick. They're all sort of value-ish, but yeah, I don't think I'd really go to any of them at this stage outside of Leo as a cheapie.
I might be digging too quickly, quickly, Tim, but have you heard anything around the Storm at the moment? Because it does feel like the roster-wise, it's just, they're at least 5 players short, it feels like still. And it's, what are we, 60-odd days away from season kickoff for him? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm hearing nothing obviously concrete in that, but Farlongo, he'll get the start at fullback and they'll give him first crack there. Warbrick in doubt to start the season. So that's the thing. If Zach Lomax does make his way down and Warbrick's not down there for round 1, especially from Supercoach purposes, like it makes it quite tough because it means they'll probably start the season with Howarth, and pending obviously what happens with Howarth. Let's say Lomax is there. I am expecting Zach Lomax to be there, if not in round 1, then in round 2, because they awkwardly play the Eels in round 1. But let's say they're both there. Lomax would probably have to play on the wing. They'd have Meany and Howarth in the centres. But then when Warbrick is back, and even if you were to play round 1, well then Meany's probably the man to drop out, unless, as you boys were saying, and they do decide to move Jack out to the back row. But the way I see round 1 will be Farlongo fullback. I reckon Zach Lomax is down there and he plays wing in place of Warbrick, pending Warbrick's fitness. But look, watch this space.
So Trav, just on Sewer, he's the only fullback option here for Supercoach. 511k currently. Are you looking? Are you tempted? I absolutely love Sewer Farlongo. I've been so big on him. I've obviously had a few chats with him as well. He's a fantastic bloke as well. But I for some reason, not many people have spoken about him so far this year. Is there reasons why? Like, have I missing something? I just feel like he'd actually be quite an enjoyable play.
He's in my team, so yeah, hell yeah, he's an enjoyable play. He's sitting on my bench and fullback at the moment, but look, I'm waiting between him and Fuller. When I just want to see what happens with Trey Fuller before I do what decision I make, but that's where I'm sitting at the moment. I want that value, so it'll be one of those two. Sua's a freak. I'm telling you now, Nick Meaney will play fullback at some point. There'll be a game here or there because Sua will miss. He'll pull a hammy or he'll do something or he'll get a head knock. There'll be a game because of the way he plays and what he does, and he's still a baby. Like he's still so young. So there will be a game where Meaney goes, but where the Storm have to be going into this season, and they've already announced it anyways, and Tim has said it too. Sua is the fullback. He will be the fullback. He's the future fullback of our team. He's taken over Pappy's spot. That is just what it's going to be, and we need to load up now. And if there's going to be a time to put a guy like him at fullback, it's now. When you've got Grant, Hughes, and Munster going into a big year like this, put him there and lock and load. The dude is a star.
Jesse.
He is a star. He's a live wire too, and he's one of those dudes that you're just excited to own. It just takes me back. Like you see him run down the line too, tongue out, and you're like, yeah, he's my fullback.
Yes.
That's my fullback. It just feels right. Good. Yeah, he's a VC play.
That magic round try. That magic round try, far out, man. I almost jumped over the fence and ran up the ground watching him do that. Like, fuck me. Sorry to swear. Sorry. I just don't. I don't swear on podcasts. I really don't. I'm really sorry. But yeah.
Damn. Strike.
He just Sua did that to him.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
happened.
true. Yeah.
And
but
you know I did.
We are fanboys of Sua. And 2024, 8 games at fullback, 63.5.
Mm-hmm.
He's value 5'11", and you take that. At least he's going to have the up and down games too. Like he's 22 years old. You're going to get that just out of a player like him, but you're going to get those massive bang games where it's just, it's Pappy of old too. Like it's the same mold. I like it a lot. Hey, I think if the fullback situation doesn't pan out how we kind of hope it does when team lists drop, maybe Fuller's not named, maybe Ponga's not fit, just uncertainty around certain things, but Sua's there at 500. Yeah, man, for sure. Like that could be a very, very key way to find value in your side, having Keeney and Sua with a premium fullback, and then all of a sudden you've got 400k to spare and you can get these other plays. You can make these Grant plays if you don't have a good hooker. You can get yourself a solid 5'8". Like there's all these things you can do just off one play, and it's not a bad player to fall back on. It's not a harsh downgrade. So yeah, man, it's very tempting.
Timmy, there's some absolutely live wire fullbacks to have this year, and from a Supercoach point of view, that just seems really exciting. Is Sua on your list at the moment? Is he a guy that you're trying to get in your team, in and around it?
He's a preseason watch for sure. And like you mentioned, I think I owned him for a very small period last year. I think he had a really low break even or something, and he had a shot with Pappy out at playing fullback, and I bought him might have been the year before, I can't remember, and he went pretty well for me. And you mentioned like how exciting he is to own in Supercoach, and the average rugby league punter out there sits there and sees him miss tackles and make errors. They're like, oh, he's terrible. And Supercoach like, I don't care, like, miss your tackle and have your -1 because then you bust the line, you score a try, and you're getting +30 and all that. I'm like, that's all we worry about. I don't give a shit about the missed tackles as a super coach. And I think the one thing I'll say, like, as you boys said, at the price of a tick over 500k, it's hard to ignore. We were sort of hoping in Supercoach that he'd get the dual CT dub fullback. They've given him just fullback, which I don't mind because I think he would have been mass owned if he was available at the CT dub. Yep. And Trav, you might be able to, go a little bit more on this, but I feel like Craig Bellamy, when he gives players a crack, he gives them a crack. He's not knee-jerk, one bad game, you dropped kind of thing, which we see so many other coaches do, and probably coaches that are under more pressure. But I feel like a bellyache will give him 4 or 5 rounds, and if he's playing terribly, sure, he'll switch it up, but he tends to give players a go.
Yeah, 100% he does. And to be honest, like, we wanted Sua to play. This is the Storm, all the fans, the organisation, they wanted Sua to be playing. They were trying to find spots. The only problem, and the reason why Sua wasn't playing was because our team was loaded, man. Like, you're not putting Sua in front of Pappy. So then we had to find him some space somewhere else. So they put him on the wing. But unfortunately, you had Coates, who's probably the best winger, in my opinion, the best winger in the comp, and Warbrick to come back, So you had to do that. So then we tried to chuck him in and try to move people around. Like, we we tried to blow our team up to try and get him somewhere, so that they want to play him. Now the opportunity is when and from what I've heard, that was the reason why they were so, like obviously the Storm would much rather keep Pappy. They would do that. But when Pappy said, "This is what I want to do, and I want to have my sabbatical," they just went, "Righto, okay, that makes sense. Let's off you go because we've got Sewer here." So and then Meaney signing, from everything that I've heard in the last couple of weeks with Meaney going to Perth, he's not going to get dropped. Bellamy's not that type of guy. Like Bellamy will play to win premierships this year. He's not I don't care what happens next year sort of guy right now. But with Meaney now going, this is the time. Like put him at fullback and just go. So yeah, you're right, and he has done that with everybody.
Yeah, I'm very keen to see how this all pans out, especially so a massive watch. There's a real good chance, like Jesse said, even if we get a word and Ponga isn't named, I will be changing Ponga to Sua, I reckon, straight away. We are about to go to our third side, but Timmy, I know you're getting hit by storms. We're about to get into silly hour here. We will give you the opportunity to leave, go and save yourself. We do appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, so we don't want to overstay our welcome.
Yeah, you're just keen to get rid of me because you know that every time my net drops out, that's more editing for you to do at midnight tonight. I've been there, mate. I do it week in, week out. And when people's internet drops out, it is the worst thing ever, so I get it. But, boys, had a good time chatting Supercoach and appreciate you having me on.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Halfway. Now you're leaving halfway, Timmy. Expect 5,000, not 4,000 messages.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
No, I don't mind it at all. I love it. Yeah, we'll see you Magic Round show. We'll chat throughout, obviously. Please, if you don't already, for some unknown reason, go and subscribe, everything to the SC Playbook. We'll continue to listen as well. Timmy, fire up for the preseason. We can't wait to be watching. So thank you very much.
Cheers, boys. Up the Stallions, up the Raiders.
Goodbye, mate. Goodbye.
Thanks, Timmy.
That was awesome, guys, to have royalty in the house. A little special, a surprise, really, and I surprised the boys as well. They didn't even know that was happening until a little bit earlier today. So hope you all enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe to all over SC Playbook, all over social media, podcast, YouTube, you know it. Most of you, I reckon, that listen to this already subscribe to him as well. So he's an absolute legend of a bloke. I can't speak highly enough of him. Always has time and day for everyone out there, including us now. So that was really, really cool. Let's get over to our next team, guys. And our next team on this one is the Canterbury Bulldogs. So their first five is the Dragons in Vegas, round 2 bye, round 3 Raiders away, round 4 the Knights at home, and round 5 South Sydney away. Now, their injury-wise, they have Cade Dykes, new recruit. He's just in the preseason, so he should be good, fit, ready to go. Jethro Rinakama, shoulder reconstruction, around that round 8 to 12 mark, so he won't be an option early on, which frees up some time and some space there on that wing spot. Let's talk the hooker position. I'm just letting me internet. But while that's loading, Jesse, just quickly with the Bulldogs side of things, you're looking at them. They're relatively, for I feel like most years so far for a while, they just haven't been massive Supercoach players. But do you feel like that might be changing?
Yeah, I think so. Like only for a handful of them. Like when you go through the side, you know who the dudes are that are relevant. You got Preston, you got Carraz. You've got at a stretch, depending on position, Stephen Crichton lately with goal kicking, and you've got Matt Burton. I kind of feel like that's sort of where the Dogs really, hit their peak of Supercoach. So Galvin, I'd be interested to see how things go for him this season. I'll be interested to just see how the Dogs go this season, to be fair, as just a general thing, but I feel like there's always value with some of these players. There's a couple here, even at hooker, we can get into in a very, very short sec, but I'm always tempted on the Dogs. I think they're a good side. I don't like their round 2 bye. Again, I don't think it's as bad as Manly's because you get a game, but then like if you're investing big money into a Carraz, you get him for a game round 1, and then you've got to just sit him in round 2, and you're probably not going to have a lot of depth on your bench to really cover a 700k out. Like that kind of thing, and it's early enough where you can buy yourself a week in a price rise too if you want to watch and see how things go with them. I think we're in a sort of weird position with the Dogs early enough to start with that you can just literally sit and wait till round 3 for every single one of them and give yourself an extra week before money's a problem. So, yeah, I suppose take that for what it is.
Let's get into hookers then. Let's start off. But just before we get into that, just a quick shout out to our Legends group. So our Facebook subscription group, $4.49 per month, cheaper than a price of coffee. It is just especially this preseason, you simply must be part of it. The amount of exclusive content, especially from a Supercoach side of view, you're all listening to this, wanting deep dive reviews and the like. There's even more of it at the Legends group. So make sure you're part of it. Some really cool things are getting announced to keep an eye on the social media pages. But I'm telling you guys, you must do it. So go ahead, Facebook, go click on our profile. You see the subscription tab right there on the homepage. Become a member for $4.49, and there's no locking anything. If you don't like it after a couple of weeks, you're free to go. We will not take any offense, but I guarantee you'll be there for the long haul. So hook up. Bailey Hayward, $343K, and new recruit Gordon Chan Kum Tong, $235K. Jesse Bailey Hayward has found his way into my team. There's just something happening. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a no-go. Especially after we spoke so highly of Jake Simpkin on our previous podcast. I did have him. I've just recently gone down to Bailey Hayward. So I don't even know what I'm thinking. It's not a play that I like. It's just
a play. It's a play for play's sake. It's a play because I need to have a hooker. That's the only reason I have a hooker in general, to be honest. The only reason I pick one, thanks Supercoach, is because you need a hooker in this game. If I could, I wouldn't have one, which is kind of where Bailey Hayward comes into it, really, doesn't he? Because he's going to play 80 minutes or thereabouts 80 minutes, maybe 65, 70 with Kurtman spelling him or something, something happening. But I expect at least 65 plus out of him. He played everywhere last year. And, for 24 games for a 35 average to have played everywhere last year, it was all pretty average. But he's very good. That's the thing. He passes an eye test. You watch him play. He's very good. He's crafty. Maybe he's built for the position this season, and a preseason's going to, project him up. 3 games was all it was that listed as a starting 9 for a 41.5 average last year. So again, still value on his very low price to start. Again, there was just a lot of mid-40s here and there. The interchange games messed him about. The very low minutes games shifted him around. He played in the halves. He played off the bench. He played through the middle. It was kind of just weird. It was a weird season to base an average and price point off Hayward. Going into a fresh year, full preseason as a 9, I can't argue with the pick for his price. It doesn't do much for anything. But in saying that, he's in this version of my team. He is my 9. So he's starting for me as well.
He's a decent player. I'd give you that. I just don't think he's a hooker. I still don't. It's just I hate having him. I'll be up front with it. And I spoke to you about this off air. I have him in my team currently, and I hate the fact I do. And I just feel like even if he doesn't play 80 minutes a hooker, he'll then go into like the middle or something. And I just like it. I just don't think it'll be a good score. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be very surprised. Hooker. First hooker.
First hooker? Damn. Yeah, nah. I can't tell Pitt. Nah. I wouldn't be putting him at first hooker, and then I wouldn't be putting 343K as my second hooker. When Brandon Smith just came out, and the word is that he's just been given the starting hooker role there at 235. You could plug and play TDS and just wait for the year at some point. You could bloody just nuff it to a Kalani going and just leave it at 201. I wouldn't be putting Bailey Hayward there. I can't talk strongly enough about not doing it. If Bailey Hayward was 235, he'd be very, very highly owned as the starting hooker on a Bulldogs team, but he's not. He's 343. He's not cheap.
Yep. He's got to be at that price. He has to be a starter, and it's ugly to see.
Yeah. Trav, just quickly as well. You were going a long time. Was that a mid-podcast shit?
Yeah, that was very rough. But no, actually, for some reason our bloody house just shook and one of our picture frames, our family photos, just
wow.
bloody fell off the wall, and I had to go and put it back.
What
Breaking
the
news:
heck?
earthquakes in
Got
Queensland.
an earthquake in
I don't know, but
bloody.
yeah, the house shook somehow, and yeah, one of the big picture frames fell off. It was huge, massive bang.
I thought we were
Bloody hell.
breaking records. I was actually keen to have you just come back and go, yeah, actually, I took a shit. I took a mid-pod. I thought we would have been breaking a record there. It's like the first mid-shit podcast. That would have been awesome. But anyway, let's go to front row forwards after that one. Max King, 583K. Leah Thompson, the big new recruit, 542K. Josh Curran, 2RF dual, 515K. Satili Tupanoa, 2RF dual, 419K. Sam Hughes, 404K. That name gives me just shudders when it comes to Supercoach. Leapoi Hopai, sorry, to Top Hopai. Why can't I say that word? Honestly. There you go.
Yeah,
2RF 309K. Fletcher Baker from the Broncos, 238K. Daniel Saluka for Feeder, 235K. And the rest, go ahead and have a look yourself.
11 of them.
Yeah, there's just
11
not
nothings.
much going for me
Isn't it?
at all here.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I was
I'm not-
going to jump in and say, Joel, wait, don't waste your breath, man. Don't bother reading it all. There's no interest in any of these for mine.
No
No.
worries.
No,
Thanks.
none at all, really. Not relevant Supercoach wise, unfortunately.
I'll go to a position I think might have a bit more going for it, and that's the 2RF with Jacob Preston, 684K, Viliami Kickow at 650K. Just spoke about Curran, Harry Hayes, 471K. Spoke about Tupanoa, Kurt Mann, 382K, and Jamin Semin at 322K. They're the relevant names. Probably go straight to the top of that list, boys. Two guys that were pretty decent and consistent last year for the Bulldogs, and some good edge back rowers there. Are they piquing any of your interest? I know, Trav, you're a huge Preston fan. Are you looking at him at the moment?
I am. Yeah, look, at 684 is awkward. That's very high price, but he's priced at a 70 average. Does he get that again this year? I think that's safe to say he will. I think there's definite improvement in Preston. He is still only improving. He's 24 years old. There's a whole nother section of his game that's just going to get better. So I think more than 70 is definitely achievable. 684K is awkward. I like Tino at the same price, and I can't have both of them in my team. So no, plus also my assumption is that you've already spoken about the draw and what Bulldogs have, and so I just don't want to spend that price on that early draw.
Yeah. Having a bench in round 2 is a pain. I'm baffled that he got to a 70 average. I had him for majority of the year, and I ended with him, and I was very happy with it in stints here and there too. He's very I wouldn't say very try reliant, but he needs that try. He needs the try to get into that 90, where otherwise he's going to be popping around the 50 to 60, which is good. Like it's very good numbers. You're paying for a 70 though. That's the issue. You're paying for the 70 to start with, and you're going to have to bench him in round 2. Again, might not be a problem. But yeah, I'm a Preston fan. I think he's going to go up a level 2. It was a big improvement last year on his previous, on just average and standalone stuff. Coming off in 2024, average 62. In 23, it was a 60. So he's on the up. It was just a big jump up, and he got 5 more tries than he did the 2 years prior as well. So 11 tries for the season is pretty good for a second rower, especially averaging 70. But yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with him. I just think get him later on. I think he will drop. He does have his fluctuations in price, and it's really just a dry spell and tries, and you're going to get him for a good chunk less. And I think that's what I'll probably wait to do.
Yeah, I'm on that train. I don't think I'll start with any of these two, but definitely big watch and a little bit down in cash. I'll be straight on. The other thing I'll just quickly say on Preston as well, very good. I wouldn't say good chance, but he's definitely in the origin radar for this year as well. That's for sure. Obviously, full strength, maybe not even make that side, unfortunately, because the Blues are stacked, but obviously is thereabouts. So just keep an eye on that one as well around that time.
Yeah, there's always a chance that he gets a call up too. Again, it's a bit away now at the stage, but yeah, he's due for it. That's the thing. He's definitely due for it. Even still, it might just be something off the bench or the 18th man or something, and he's just going to give you a headache in the future. But excellent player. And Kikau, massive improvement on Kikau too last season. I think Trav had him. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trav. Do you have Kikau last year?
I did, yep.
Yeah. Anyone you're looking at getting on him at some stage? Maybe over Preston potentially?
No. No, if I'm going to take somebody, I think there's more improvement in Preston. I think Kikau is what Kikau is. What we got out of Kikau was one of his better years last year in terms of his play. I think that's what you're going to get, whereas I think Preston has improvement. You're saying try reliant? Well, maybe, but I would say that based off his age, that try is going to probably increase more than likely. I think he's going to get better. So, yeah, I would find 34 extra K and get Preston over Kikau, and I wouldn't even think about it.
Yep.
Yeah. Fair, very, very fair. Let's go to halfback. Lachlan Galvin. Don't know if you've heard of him. May or not have been in and around the media a fair bit the last 12 months of his career, but 555K, halfback only at this present stage. Sean O'Sullivan, 242K, and Mitch Woods, 201K. Boys, Mitch Wood there was some early tips around him getting this starting role, but hasn't had the best preseason so far. Has been injured and the like. Why do I keep looking at Lockie Galvin, praying that he gets 5'8", and why then am I very keen on Lachlan Galvin and thinking to myself, he's in for like a really good year if he gets named at 5'8". If he gets named a halfback, forget it. If he becomes a 5'8" there at Dogs, I'm very keen.
I love Lachlan Galvin.
I know.
You do. Yeah,
I do.
Hashtag Magic Round 2025.
That's
car
right.
trip.
100%.
Traded in.
Go. Yeah, man. Just locked him in and copped it right in the pooper when he had his little spat with the Tigers. But I like Galvin. I want to see him do something first. I think I don't know. You Brian him at a 56. 555 is a good price for him for what he can do. It's just if he can do it, and I don't doubt his ability. That's not the question, really. It's just, it's a tricky one with him, man. It really is, because he's going to have a massive game in him. But yeah, how much does he do? What happens with Burton? Does Burton go to the centres? Does Wood play? A lot of unknowns, and there's just too many things at halfback. It's a weird spot for him. If he was a 5'8" still, with what we're missing at 550 in that bracket, because that's where I want a 5'8", just 500K. Maybe give me Dylan Brown if he gets his duel. You know what I mean? That's where I want them to be. That's where Galvin should be. That's where I'd probably have more interest than locking a halfback spot down. I'd just find that's Moses money too, and you know what you're going to get out of Moses, I think.
Yeah, it's very funny. It feels like there's a couple of guys who are very much eager to watch, and we're praying at the moment get this duel because it would help a lot. Trav, any thoughts around Galvin?
No, we are pretty lucky to have Lachlan Galvin have a round 2 bye, which means it kind of gives everyone a reason to not buy him and watch him, and then just pull your team apart or do what you got to do to try and get him in. And if he goes nuts in those first 2 games in round 1 and 3, get him round 4 and just do it. Because there is no doubt that this guy is a star. He can play football. He is a very, very good rugby league player. Sorry, he just
wrong
is.
Podcast.
He just is, and we have to be honest and say it doesn't matter what happened last year and what he did to the Tigers and blah 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 blah. There was a whole lot of story, and there's 2 sides to that story. This guy is a gun. He's so talented. He's so good, and he's so good for Supercoach. But let's just wait and watch and see. Yeah. And we've got that round 2 bye is actually a blessing in disguise for people.
Yeah. Absolutely right. And just quickly on Mitch Woods, if he does come back fit, he gets that starting spot at some stage, no doubt he'll become a huge look and potential play and free up some cash at probably a pretty convenient time of the year, I feel like. Matty Burton, 557K at 5'8". lots of talk that he'll end up at the centres for the Dogs at some point this year once they become full strength. I'll say that once the likes of Mitch Woodsnut is fit. The talk is just quickly, if you haven't heard it yet, that when they are all fully fit and Woods is ready to go, he'll go to halfback. Galvin goes to 5'8". Matt Burton goes to centre. You all know by now I love the idea of Crichton at fullback. There is a potential. There's apparently been slight murmurs about that. I wouldn't go far with that at the moment. I'd still say Crichton will start at centre for the Bulldogs, but Matt Burton at centre, 557 boys, I'm just not keen.
Without goal kicking, I'm not keen. He's overpriced, unfortunately. If you account for his numbers, at that 557 at a 57 average as a centre without goal kicking, it's just negatives. It's just going to be red price tag wise, and maybe things change and he does get a dual centre 5'8". I'll take that as a valuable position as a dual because that's one of the best combinations you can really get, I would say. That's where I'd probably get some appeal because he hopefully sits to like 450. As 450k Burton with a dual, like yes please, I'll take it. It just depends, man. There's a lot riding on it. He's good. He's a Dalian centre. He's not a shit centre. So I'll take that. It's just Crichton's goal kicking really hurts him, I think.
Yes. Crichton apparently has won the goal kicking, just for those that aren't in the know of that yet. So it seems to be Crichton's first choice. Trav, why does it look like, if I'm reading you right, you have that look on your face going, why are we talking so long on Matt Burton?
Because Matt Burton is not interesting to talk about at 5'8". Sorry. There's so many better options. And to be fair, I'd go down and get someone like Cody Walker or just nuff it out. Like, seriously, don't bother.
Like, can we stop saying Cody Walker, please? He's going to explode.
The problem is that Matt Burton is a really good player in a shit situation.
Yes. Absolutely spot on. Let's move on with that one. Centre wing, Jacob Kiraz, 746k. Stephen Crichton, 600k on the dot. That looks really cool. Actually, that's just very satisfying to look at. Inari Tuala, 544k. Bronson Sherry, 509k. Marcelo Montoya, 454k. And then obviously we've just mentioned Rinakama's out for a while, so he's not a player at all at this present stage. Boys, Kiraz, the two at the top I think are interesting talking points because now Crichton with the goal kicking comes into play. He seems to be starting to get used a lot more in attack as well, being floating up and around that sort of attacking fullback role. I'd love if they just go all in with him being fullback, and that'd be awesome to have a centre wing fullback duel of Crichton. But I'm obviously going way ahead of myself with that one, but there is something that just keeps making me look at him. It feels like it's too expensive, but at the same time, with like you put into some of these things into play, maybe it's still decent. Trav, what are you thinking?
No, I'm not interested in Stephen Crichton even at fullback. I'm just not. Like you're talking about a guy who is a very, very good fullback and a very good centre, if arguably the best centre in the competition. But Supercoach-wise, he just doesn't have that game. But you talked praise about how good he was when he was that floating sort of fullback and more attacking stats, and yet he finished the year from 14 onwards when he sort of did do that at 69, 64, 71, 64, 65, 100, 52, 47, 60, 52. Like that doesn't scream to me like I want to have him at 600k, even as a fullback. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, but yeah, I really like him. He's a great player. I had him in my list of top 5 centers in the competition. I'm not interested just right now.
Yeah, no, I echo that too. I think even with goal kicking, he's not a Supercoach relevant player, and he's never been a fantasy or Supercoach relevant fullback either. He's got a career average of a 48 at fullback. And that's, there's 7 games there, a couple of fill-in ones. It's just, he's such a good player to watch, and he's just incredible. He's right up there with the very best of them, but it's just not happening in Supercoach for him. And for that price, you could do much more with it. Much more.
Jacob Kiraz, talk to us more positively, please, boys. Talk him up because
We don't
He's
need to
freak.
talk him up. Put him in your team. Don't worry about it. You're going to get 76, if not more. The dude's just 25 runs. The dude's just a tank. He's a machine. Get him in your team. I don't want to give you any more stats.
There's no point, is there? He's a freak. It's just, you're going to do it for round 1 and bench him round 2?
No.
I lost you for a sec, Trav. What'd you say?
I said yes. I am.
You said yes.
I did. Yep. I said yes. I've said no to everyone else that's high price, like Preston and all that, for 680, but this is freaking Jacob Carraz.
Yeah, you're going to have him at some point.
This is
Guaranteed.
different.
Yeah,
I want him for that round. I want him for that round 1 when he puts on 150 off 3 tries against the Dragons. And then I want him from then on.
True. And you know what? Because of the round 2, he will not be very highly owned. So you getting ahead of the pack in that round 1 game, which is really, really hot to be fair, you're just going to be waiting for round 3, licking your lips, looking at him on your bench, ready to play him back into your side. So
it's a Vegas game.
You can afford an early flex. It's a center wing in round 2 to cover him, isn't it? So
yeah, but the thing is, the problem with it is he's 746k, right?
Yeah.
Do we honestly believe that he's going to drop too much more than that? No. So we're living in a world where you're going to have to blow up your team to find the money to get Jacob Carraz at 700 odd K, if not, and more. So like you you have to if you start with him, you've got to do it. Otherwise, it's not a one trade. You can't just do a one trade for him. Like you're going to have to do a double trade, and trades a premium. He's the guy. Like I've said in every other team, I'm not starting some that have got that early buy. I'm not starting someone at that price, but they're not Jacob Carraz.
Yeah, no, it's completely valid. It's it'd be someone that you're waiting like around 6 to 8 after cashies have kind of got capped to their top of their end if they do appear.
Praying to God he's cheaper.
Hoping he's cheaper and he's not too far away, exactly, and hoping you have cashies that have risen enough and you have someone to trade out. There's a lot of things that have to align for you to get Carraz or anyone at 750 plus. So
do you know what was his cheapest price last year?
I don't think he would have gone below 650.
He started 700k. His lowest price was 604 at the end of the year.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was 700, 700, 680, 730, 770, 766, 798, 768, 753, 741, 700. And then he went down he went to 660. Like, you're not going to get him for more than 100k less than what he's on now. Like, it's just, that's the way it's going to be. So,
where's, in all seriousness, where is he in the power ranking sort of scheme of things when it comes to CCW? Because no one can have them all. There's so many guns to start with. Yeah, Supercoach. What are you thinking at the moment? Because obviously with Farnworth, Valentine Holmes is up there. You've got Carraz, the Hero. There's a few guns. You've got to make the call on at least probably one or two of those and not have them to start with. Is he potentially one of those guys?
He's number 2.
Yeah, he's number 2. He's definitely number 2. It's Herbie Carraz, Hero for me.
It's Herbie. Correct. Yeah, I'm exactly the same thought. He's number 2.
Yeah, I think you're just allowed to with the round 2 buy. I think if you're going to dismiss anyone in that top pack, he's got to be in consideration just because of total points. But again, to Trav's point, it's so hard. It's so hard to get him early. Like, you're going to want him as early as possible.
Is there a reasonable argument to then say if you don't start with him, there's a decent replacement for about 150k less in Brian Toe?
I've got him as well.
Yeah, I've got him too. That's the thing. That's like, where do you fit him? Realistically, like, he's not in my side at the moment. But neither is Val Holmes. You know what I mean? So. These are the guys you strive to get and you aim to build your center wing towards. If you just want to jump the gun and start with all 4 of them and just see yourself out, you will be in a good position. I don't see it being a negative for you, genuinely. Stack your center wing, go 1, 2, 3, 4 of absolute premiums, go cheap in second row with some 400k value because there's heaps of it. Maybe it works out. Maybe as a net gain in points, I think you're just going to have them and you're not going to have to work your way up. I know last season I got Carraz and Herbie in the same trade week, and I think it was round 4 or 5.
I did
And
too.
I had him. I went bang bang. Thank you very much. I'm getting these two right now before everyone else does, and it was fantastic, man. It was really good, especially Herbie, especially having Herbie for that run before people got onto him, and everyone's like, "I'll wait for him to come down." Kraz is in that same mold. He doesn't go down in price. You just have to confidently pay up.
Not enough that he's going that you don't have to blow up your team. It's not enough to just go one down, one up kind of thing. Like this is a couple of week trade problem that you've got to get if you don't have him.
Yeah. Interesting times ahead, that is for sure. It's just some of these centre wings at the moment, they're absolute guns. You just feel like you have to start with them or you're going to quickly fall behind the pack. Fullback, Connor Tracy, 611K.
No.
Crichton.
No.
What do you mean?
No, don't do it.
No, thank you.
No. I'm a Connor Tracy fan. You know that. I spoke about it last year. But no, please do not.
Okay, let's get over to the final team of the episode. That's the St George Illawarra Dragons. So their first 5, just spoke about them, the Bulldogs in Vegas. Round 2, the Storm at home. Round 3, the Eels away. Round 4, the Titans away. And round 5, the Cowboys at home. On the injury front for the Dragons, so a little bit happening, but it's all relatively good news. So Ryan Couchman with that ACL seems to be recovering really well. Will be starting round 1. Same with his brother Toby. It seems round 1. Val Holmes seems to be all good with that shoulder injury and will be good to go round 1. The only one that's still a while away is Dylan Egan ACL between rounds 10 to 12. This is all thanks to the NRL physio as well. Just a quick one. Didn't ask this really for Bulldogs, but does the Vegas game come into consideration for you boys, either from a positive or a negative point of view?
Yeah.
Which way?
It scares me off. It does every year too. Since Vegas has come through, having that round 0 and just having players locked in before team lists have come out, and you just don't know. Like there's so much tinkering that happens in that last week when you're really trying to settle yourself in, and then you basically just have to get ahead of a week and you go, these are the guys that I want. And it's different if that's the case. If they're the guys that you just want and they're non-negotiables in your team, sweet, just get them for Vegas and you just have a couple. And it's nice having some Supercoach in a week early as well, so that's always pretty good. But if your budget depends on these dudes and you're thinking, God, if something doesn't pan out the way I hope next week when the team list drop, but now I'm priced out of whatever I wanted to do, that's kind of where I get stuck. So yeah.
It's interesting. You can go one or two ways. You can have 3 players playing it and you're sitting on 300 to start the week. You're going, how good is Supercoach to start the year? Or you've had 3 players play, you're sitting on 20. There's been some horrid injuries and you're going, oh, shit me to tears. Trav, does it deter you at all?
Not really, no. Who's playing in Vegas this year? Knights, Cowboys, Bulldogs, Dragons.
Yuck.
Not
Sorry, Vegas.
for you to go.
If Ponga's named, I'll probably pick him. I've got Drinkwater in my fullback at the moment, and I'm very happy to have him. Bulldogs I just spoke about. Carraz is the only one. Other than that, I'm going to watch because of the round 2 bye, but I'm not going to not pick any of them because they're playing in Vegas. And the Dragons, look, if the likes of like Ryan Couchman and that are playing at 235K, I'm going to put him in my team and be very, very happy. I've just found I've got a 235K bloody cheapie sitting there on my bench because we need them. So no, not really.
Yeah. No, spot on here. Let's get into the positions. Hooker, Damien Cook, 526K, and Jacob Little, 447K. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, boys, but I feel like we said the exact same thing last year. Wait for one of them to go down, basically. And guess what? It never happened. They both played 24 games, and it seemed to, in a weird way, work. They end up okay, but still, in my opinion, just wait, watch, and unfortunately, from a Supercoach point of view, just waiting on one of them to get injured.
Yeah,
100%.
you are. Definitely. That's it, isn't it? Just hope it's Little, man. I just want to say Little again. Give me some 80-minute Little. It'll be a great year for Supercoach.
I thoroughly enjoyed having Little off my waivers that I picked him up in draft. Because God, he'd just come on, he'd play your 20 minutes and get a try,
Score a try.
and you're just like,
Full length
hell
runs
yeah,
too.
thank you very much,
Yeah, we
thank
did that
you.
so many times.
Yep,
It was
loved
like,
it.
I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times. It just breaks the line on the line and runs the whole length of the field. I'm thinking, I've watched this 4 times already this season. This is
The
insane.
Go again.
The amount of times we called for Jacob Little to be named the starting hooker and play 80 for the Dragons is just dumbfounding. We'll continue to it, Joel. We will continue to do it in 2026.
That's fine.
Still begs my mind the fact that they even signed Cook to start with when Little was just right there screaming for it. He was just there in their hands and they just didn't pull the trigger. Front row forward, so Toby Couchman with the 2RF dual, 588k. Emre Gula, 416k. Josh Kerr, 361k. Loco Pacifici Tonga, 328k. Blake Laurie, 309k. And Hame Sele, 264k. I'm not that keen on anyone at this stage. I feel like early on there might be some eyes on Toby Couchman, but I personally not there. Don't know.
A bit the same. I'm a bit the same.
Hmm.
I've got eyes on Toby Couchman. I think he's a goer. I've got eyes on his brother too, who's a cheapy prospect. Again, it's a bit of money too. You know what I mean? Like 588. It's hard in the front row because you find a bit more to get your, Keons or something, and it's very dear in your second row considering what you've got around you with Tinos and that kind of thing too. So, I just don't think so. Hey, I just think that's a bit awkward to get them on their price. I have heard that Josh Kerr might be starting,
Yes.
so he is a potential watch on that side as well. Just minutes. It's just a minutes thing. He's going to be a 1 point per minute guy, I reckon. His impact off the bench was quite good. So
For the Dolphins,
Dolphins, yeah. So it's just, is that going to be the same gameplay with him? Is he going to be that impact dude? Probably not if he's starting. So yeah, I just don't think there's too much upside with him, and it's a weird price as well, 360. If you're looking at Paseka or something, you're not going to have both. You're not going to start with them. So yeah, it's not much going there.
Yeah. Trav?
No, look, Toby Couchman, I am keen. If he's at that if he gets all those minutes, like in 13 games last year, he averaged 60. That's pretty good. If he's going to lock down big minutes, and that role, I'll find it hard not to have him in my team. I will. I'll find it hard not to have him in my team. But at this point, I'm not interested. I won't have any of them in there.
Yep.
He was doing some good things numbers-wise, wasn't he, when last year when he was playing?
Yeah, he was. It was really impressive. Yeah, really impressive. Definitely a watch, man.
Just watch at this stage. A lot of watching at the moment, but I'll tell you what, it's just... Yeah, and the other thing is he is coming back from a big injury as well, so we can't just overlook that as well. We've been very cautious in the past with a lot of those players, and this will be another one to start the year watching. 2RF, so Jaden Suar, 619k. Toby Couchman with that duel just spoke about. Dylan Egan, 563k, but it will be a while till he's back. Luciano Leilua, 420k. Hamish Stewart, 402k. Jacob Halangahu, 334k. Ryan Couchman, 235k, coming back from that injury as well. And yeah, that is it for them. Tell you what, the other brother is very appealing at that price if he can get some decent minutes under his belt. That's looking like a steady little money maker there. But the thing with the Dragons boys is they've got a really good, exciting young pack coming through that it might be a problem of balancing those minutes and some people playing into each other's minutes and that sort of thing. Like I'm feeling the more and more I'm looking at them, especially from an NRL point of view, I'm actually really excited to see what they can produce this year. But from a Supercoach point of view, I feel like a lot of this forward pack may eat into each other slightly, which becomes a huge headache and pain in the ass because I actually predict it to happen all year round, really.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I think, you're going to have dudes like Su'a playing 80. I don't know if he's going to deviate too far from that. You'd imagine Couchman on the other side as well, rotates through the middle, possibly. Leilua was doing that too, so...
and does look fit.
Yeah.
Leilua looks fit at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's got the backing, to be fair, from Flanagan. I just don't think he really wants him to be his 80-minute guy. I think he might just be more preferred through the middle as a big body. So Egan's going to be missed. I think he's towards the end of the year or before he got injured, he was looking like their best back rower. He was an absolute monster, man. And he was a nice price. He was just a demon, genuinely an attacking demon. So I was very keen to see how he goes, but again, missing for a good chunk of the year. It's kind of just Hamish Stewart I'm appealed with. That's kind of where my direction goes. I had Hamish Stewart in my front row last season. Made some good coin on him, and he was a good play as well. Like I had to use him a few times, and he did not let me down. A 50 or something here and there off the bench. 55 average is a lock where I'm expecting him to start. I think 400k is great value. There's a few starting to emerge just by going through them, and he's a contender for a cheapie in the second row.
Yeah, Trav, anything to add with this 2RF position?
No, I like the Hamish Stewart pick, like you just mentioned before. I'm going to keep my eye on him though, and I will give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to this guy because he's so underrated. He's not. I think he's quietly becoming the most underrated player, and that's Sewer. Like people just don't talk about this guy, yet he just constantly puts and does and gets stats, and he's just a lock on that edge. Like he just plays so well all the time, and because he plays for the Dragons, no one really knows about him. He's just so underrated. I really like him. Averaged 63.4 last year. Like that's pretty good for a 2RF in Supercoach. Are you going to start him? No. But just keep him on your radar because if you want to get a guy who's just going to get that every single week, like, we picked a guy like an Isaiah Yeo at one point for locking down a 60 to 70 every single week. Well, here's another one.
Yeah, and he averaged 67 in 2024. So he's actually dropped a little. So yeah, he's regressed a little bit. I think we mentioned this too last season looking at Sura, just thinking, far out, he's very much like the Hudson Young. And before, obviously, Hudson Young had his season last year where he, shut us all up because none of us really owned him. But Sura and Young were very similar, very similar kind of players, 80 minutes, consistent, decent in attack, can score tries. It's just Young obviously took the next step. Sura could very well do that. Hey, like this team's improving.
I've had him a couple of years over the last few years in some of my draft sides, and he really is a really nice pick to have. He just, like you said, he just goes about his work. He literally just each week you can just look at his score at the end of the round. You're like, oh sweet, there we go again. There's another 60. Awesome,
yes, exactly.
There we go.
Yep.
And then you'll occasionally get the 80 odd when he gets that try that he often gets. So yeah, he's just a really fun own. And see, I don't think I'll ever have him in my classic, but keeps talking about draft and starting to get closer and closer to it. There's a thought there. Halfback, the guy that's in my team currently, and I think would be in many teams out there as well.
For sure.
Daniel Atkinson, 235k. I think there's not much wrong here. I just feel like don't even look at last year's average because it was all over the shop. There was literally games you'd get 5 minutes if that. It's just don't even bother. We just know that this guy, I reckon, he's a fantastic footy player. I think in 2024. Jesse, I'm assuming will probably be the better numbers because he had a lot more starting games and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. So 2024, he played 13 games in the halves, averaged 47. 80-minute games. Normal, he was a 5'8" next to Nico for the bulk of it. So, 47. Like you take that 235k. Like it's free money. It is, and it doesn't really seem like the year for two premium halves. Like. At a stretch, you're going to find someone that's going to have Cleary and Hines to start with, just out of tradition. But I think there's actual value here. I think you can make some money off him. It doesn't feel like a Duffy situation, genuinely. I think I think there's something here, genuinely. I think you can't really get it wrong.
This can't be a Duffy situation at all. Like they wanted him to come early. This was the way it was going to be. We know that it was Flanagan and the other young fella. I've just gone blank. What's his name? Because he had a good year last year. Who was the other half?
Tonga.
It was Tonga?
King Tonga.
King Tonga, that's it, yeah. And he's good. And he was really good last year for a young fella. But we all knew that those two were playing for that extra spot. Because beside Atkinson, this is not a Duffy situation. I don't think whoever it is that misses out goes in and takes to Atkinson early. Just doesn't happen. This is Atkinson. He's going to be there all year. At worst, you've got him sitting there for he'll make 100. I think he's going to make at least 300k. I'll put it down there and say he's making 300k. He's getting a 550 for sure.
Yeah, I can see it at least. Hey, at least.
Come on down, put him in your team, put him in your second slot. Heck, start him. Go and play a ballsy play and start him. Why not? The amount of players you could have in the rest of your side, naming a 235 halfback, go ahead and do it. Send us a photo.
Don't do that. Just a disclaimer. I feel like we have to put an asterisk against that last one.
No, but if Joel's gonna say things like that, we should hold him accountable and make him do it.
Why not? Just go, you know what, Mahars might be Pezzett and Atkinson starting. Tamari Martin might be on the reserves. And
Sanders. Why not?
Sanders.
Just throw them all in.
You won't do it.
The rest of my side will be humongous.
You got the infinity gauntlet of cheap halves.
There'll be someone out there that runs. I guarantee it. There'll be someone that runs it thinking, how good does the rest of my team look? I'm just going to do it and just pray it happens.
Watch this cash growth.
Let's go to 5'8". Kyle Flanagan, 5'8", 489k. Lycan King Tongia, 470k. Don't like either of them.
No,
thanks.
You can move on.
Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you. Centre wings, Valentine Holmes, 734k. Christian Tuipulotu just could not stay fit last year. Price, though, at 670k. Still averaged 68.6. A lot of people forget how good he was, especially to start the year. Matthew Feagai, 577k. Terrell Sloan, managed 20 games despite the fact that it's very clear they don't want him anywhere near the side. He just cannot go away.
He got 19 tries too.
Crazy. They still don't want him.
No.
Still shopping him. Moses Sully, 475k. Nathan Lawson, 268k. A guy that looks... Look, I'm piquing my interest. David Farley, 235k, played one game last year and averages 76. So have a piece of that one. And Setu 2, I will mention him, 201k. The reason I mentioned the last two, because there has been some articles around. Flanagan did an interview recently and did say that both Farley and Tu are on course for and having a battle basically for that wing spot. So again, it just looks like Sloan's massively on the outer, which means he'll probably start round one somehow. There'll be a massive injury rush or something. But boys, I've got Setu 2 at the moment, but I wouldn't mind if either of these get a start because I'll be on either of them.
Yeah, I've got Setu 2 as well. My mate Aaron, he's a diehard Dragon supporter, and he's got he's singing so many praises about this bloke as well. Even Farley too. I reckon there's probably a world where they both start. You know, if he's given them both the raps. Tuipulotu obviously just hammy after hammy after hammy after warm up hammy after ham sandwich hammy. It was relentless.
Still got 68.
And he's still got 68. He played a game, you get 100. It was just, when is he playing? And when he gets named, it's like, is he going to walk out or is he going to get hurt on the walkout? So, yeah, you're waiting for this next dude to step himself up. There'll be a time and a place to buy one of these wingers at some point of the year because of an injury. It's near guaranteed. Paying $1.10 that one. So yeah, just keep an eye. I'd start with whoever gets the position in round one, because we'll know early too. We'll know early by Vegas, which is so handy because there's a cheapie that's already formed themselves. Without some uncertainty. So yeah, buy the guy that starts, wait for the other guy to get injured, then you'll get the other one that starts. Good cash value. And then outside of that, Val Holmes is the only premium in this team. So he's not someone that I'd be running to jump on immediately, but I've always got a soft spot for Holmes. It's just, how many of these 700k centers can you fit?
3.
Yeah.
3.
How good for the other two boys getting your start, basically getting around one start in Vegas. could think of worse spots to have a good start and have a reward after a good preseason.
They're not old enough to go out.
Yeah, probably not. that's why he's probably picking him. He's like, one less player I have to worry about. The perfect. Go and sit in the hotel room and watch Netflix for a few days. Yep. Unfortunately, boys. Val Holmes as well.
The only thing concerning would be if they grab those little pool noodles and have a wrestle like 2025. Yeah,
get the hammer, get the blow up hammers and start whacking each other, having a fight over who gets the top bunk in the bunk beds. Val Holmes, I keep trying to look at ways to get him in my side for some reason. I'm really intrigued with Val Holmes.
Yeah. I don't hate that at all, and I think so you should. And to be fair, I wouldn't. There's a world where I potentially drop a Farnworth down to him and give myself an extra 90K. Like, I get it. I see it. I like him. I fought tooth and nail to try and get him. And then by the time I finally had the cash and the trade to do it, he got himself injured, unfortunately, which was a shame because I really wanted him. That left edge, that's the side that they're on, is just freaking killer. And that's why Tuipulotu just went nuts, right? Just went absolute nuts. 68.6 over 9 games. The game that he got injured, I had him. I had him for 2 weeks, and he was a very, very good buy to have for 2 weeks.
You've broken Joel.
Yeah, Joel's immature brat.
It's because you said Tuipulotu.
Yeah.
And it just broke him. Someone clip that. That's hilarious.
We should let's clip all the things he does wrong. He doesn't
he
even
said it twice. He doubled down on it, and then me and Jesse just looked at each other. We're like, "What?"
That's what did it. Hey, it was the eye contact. Like, Joel, did you see that?
That's all good.
Sorry, Trav.
Joel. From now on, I'm going to call you out for it. But honestly, the two of them, like, I can find a world where I can have both of them. Like, I really can. Yeah. And I think their draw early, they're going to score. It's all going to go that way. And if they put a rookie out the other side and not Terrell Sloan, they're definitely going to go that way even more. I'm very, very keen on that.
Yeah. You kind of like, obviously Tuipulotu's going to have that left locked in. Rightfully so. Next to Holmes, that's dangerous. It's just so focal for him too. Like, it's obvious they're gonna do that play every time, and you're gonna have to try and stop it every time, and you're probably not going to be able to. Holmes is inevitable. You know, he'll be a 70, 75 plus average dude. He'll kick. He'll just do it all. And whoever plays outside him is going to kind of reap the benefits. So yeah, I'm just praying. Obviously, Tuipulotu, I want to see him fit. I want to see him, do his little money thing, and it just gets everyone going. Like, he's a great player, and especially for draft, I think people might be a bit scared of him because of the hammies. So you might have some draft value in him late. But if he does ever go down, whoever plays outside of Holmes is already money. So yeah, good spot to be on.
Val Holmes had a very underrated year last year. I know he only played the 14 games, but even for not just NRL, but even Supercoach, he still averaged 75.
Yeah, he just finds a way.
And no one really spoke about him for I think the only time I registered with him, I actually started to plan after Origin to get him into my side, and then obviously fell down. So
he scored 6 tries as well.
Yeah. Something about him. I just keep getting myself back to him and just wanting to get him in. Lastly, Clint Gutherson, 648 at fullback. Obviously had that star little run there that then burnt a lot of people who got on very, very late. He just decided to start putting in 30s and 40s for about 5 weeks straight, and everyone was praying that he's got another big one in him, and it just never came. 66 average last year, so I'm not anywhere near it. There's too many fullbacks, in my opinion, around this year to entertain Gutho. But am I wrong?
No, you were not.
Much. No, you're not wrong at all. Round 1, 113. Round 2, 146. Round 3, 47. That's where I bought. Round 5, 130. Thanks for the cash. I think he was about 900k at that point. It was the fastest track to $1 million from a fullback I've seen at the beginning of a Supercoach season ever. And yeah, well, I did the Iongi to him for the jump. 2 weeks later, he's almost $1 million, got off him. And it was fantastic. I was like, sweet, I got an extra $1 million in the bank. It was the people that held, they kind of just got a bit burnt by it because he went 57, 57, or 54, 57, 43, 44, 71. He had his ups and downs. It was just that early start. Like, what is this? This is a revamped Gutherson. If he does it again, he's still gonna. If he priced himself at that mid 600 again now and has that start of the season again, he's still a buy for the cash. Just got to get off as
Problem
soon as the
was,
cash has come in.
the problem was that they did everything through Gutho, and Gutho took a whole nother like superhero position, and then every team realized it was all Gutho or nothing. So what did everyone do? They like doubled down, tripled down on him, and that was it. Like Gutho then died.
It was a decoy. You're like,
Dragons
what
also
happened?
overthought the room with a bit and just stopped going with him. I'm like,
That's exactly right.
what are you doing? It was working so well. Why would you overthink that?
Yeah, it was working.
I mean,
really
they beat
well,
the Storm. They beat the Storm in that round 3 game. It was pissing down. That was that weekend. That was the wettest weekend in NRL history or something, wasn't it? But like they beat the Storm that weekend. He got that 46, but that's when and from then on, they just stopped. Like, obviously got another week, but then from then on, it was just, what are you doing?
Yeah. Nah, that's it then. That's it, guys. That is it for another marathon episode. We are over the halfway mark now, so just a couple more sprints, so to speak. The final 2 we'll do are just 3 team ones, so very keen to rip into those ones. Please go ahead, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go ahead, catch up with the previous ones we have done. There's been some really good talking points so far. And yeah, let us start knowing your sides as well. If you want to become a legend, as we spoke about earlier, come and send in your sides. They'll be absolutely torn apart. That the boys will look into them, see where you can fit more cash in or whatever you want to generate, that will help you do so. A huge shout out to Timmy Williams for jumping on this episode. It was awesome to chat Supercoach with Mr. Royalty himself. And just a heads up, guys, I didn't kick him off the podcast. It wasn't any, we actually teed up originally to come on and just do the 2 teams. It's a marathon. We would not put that on to anyone else. So we do appreciate Timmy jumping on. And there was a little unfortunate little bit with that storm, but we can't control the weather, that's for sure. So thank you, boys, very much to Trav and Jesse. Big week down and ticked off now. Like, subscribe. We will see you all again next week. Bye-bye.
Get Tua Paludu in your team.